Tonight we are far from the noise of the modern world, beyond familiar cities and roads, beyond even the oldest memories of humankind. You find yourself standing beneath a sky that does not yet belong to anyone. The stars seem brighter here. The air carries the scent of wild thyme and distant salt from unseen seas. Above dark mountains, clouds drift slowly across the heavens like sleeping giants. This is the age before Olympus, before heroes, before temples of shining marble, before the Thunderbolt had a master. Tonight, you will walk through one of the oldest mysteries of Greek mythology. How did Zeus, hidden as a helpless child, become ruler of the cosmos itself? And was that destiny decided from the beginning? Or did countless choices shape the path ahead? As you settle into this ancient world, perhaps take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you enjoy these long journeys through mythology. And if you wish, share your location and local time in the comments below. Across many countries and many time zones, others may be listening beneath the same night sky. Now the story begins. You stand at the edge of creation, not the creation of the world itself for the Greeks. Imagine that existence emerged from something even older than the gods. Before Zeus, before the Titans, before earth and sky, there was chaos. Not chaos in the modern sense of confusion or disorder. Rather, it was an immeasurable emptiness, a vast gap, a silent opening. Ancient poets struggled to describe it. Even today, historians continue to debate exactly what early Greek storytellers imagined when they spoke of chaos. Perhaps it was a void. Perhaps it was possibility itself. No one can know for certain. Yet from this mysterious beginning, forms slowly emerged. First came Gaia, the earth. She rose from the emptiness, vast and fertile, solid beneath all things, the foundation upon which life would eventually stand. Then came Tartarus, a deep abyss hidden beneath the roots of reality, a place so distant and dark that even gods would later fear its depths. Eros appeared as well. Not merely love, but the force of attraction, the power that drew separate things together, the unseen pull that allowed creation to continue. You walk across the young earth. The ground beneath your feet feels untouched. No roads cross the hills. No temples crown the mountains. Only endless wilderness stretches beneath a sky still finding its shape. Gaia was not alone for long. From herself she brought forth Uranus the sky. He rose above her like an immense blue dome. Day after day, night after night, sky covered earth. Together they formed the first great union. Ancient Greeks often looked upon the horizon and imagined this relationship. Earth below, sky above, always touching, always separated, always bound together. Their union produced many children. The first were powerful beings, the Titans, massive, radiant, and ancient. Among them were Oceanus, who would embody the encircling waters, Hyperion associated with heavenly light, Coeus linked with intelligence and inquiry, Thea, Phoebe, Tethys, Rhea, and many others. Each carried part of creation within their nature. They were not yet gods in the familiar Olympian sense. They were cosmic powers, living forces. You imagine them walking across the newborn world, mountain-sized figures beneath star-filled skies, their footsteps echoing across valleys that no mortal eyes would ever witness. For a time, creation seemed peaceful, yet something troubled Uranus. Some traditions suggest fear, others suggest pride, perhaps both. Among Gaia's children were beings even stranger than the Titans. The Cyclopes, gigantic craftsmen with a single eye, and the 100-handed ones, enormous beings possessing unmatched strength. 50 heads, 100 arms. Their appearance frightened their father. Perhaps he saw danger. Perhaps he saw rivals. Ancient stories offer different interpretations. Whatever the reason, Uranus made a decision that would shape the future of the cosmos. He imprisoned them, deep within Gaia, back into the earth that had birthed them. You hear the distant rumble of stone. You feel the pressure of mountains. Imagine the pain. The earth herself forced to contain her own suffering children. Gaia endured, for a time. But pain accumulates, like water filling a hidden cavern, like storm clouds gathering beyond distant hills. Eventually, even the patient earth reached her limit. At night, she listened to the cries of the imprisoned ones, the Cyclopes, the 100-handed ones, forgotten beneath the world. Each cry became a wound. Each wound deepened her anger. A prophecy began to form, not spoken aloud, not carved into stone, but growing quietly within Gaia's thoughts. The Greeks often understood fate this way, not as something suddenly announced, but as something that slowly gathers strength, like roots spreading beneath the soil, like a storm forming beyond the horizon. Gaia knew change was coming. She called her Titan children together. The gathering took place beneath immense skies. Torchlight flickered against stone. Sea winds moved through distant forests. The Titans listened as their mother revealed her suffering. She asked for help. She asked for courage. She asked one of them to stand against their father. Many remained silent. Uranus was powerful. His rule seemed eternal. Even gods feared challenging what appeared permanent. But one Titan stepped forward. Cronus, youngest of the Titans. Patient, intelligent, ambitious. Unlike some of his siblings, he saw opportunity where others saw danger. Ancient storytellers often portray Cronus as complex, neither fully villain nor hero. He answered his mother's pain, yet he also desired power. Perhaps both motives lived within him simultaneously. Such contradictions often appear throughout Greek mythology. The gods rarely act for only one reason. Gaia presented Cronus with a weapon, a sickle fashioned from adamant, harder than mortal metal, cold as destiny. The blade glimmered beneath moonlight. Even then, an omen seemed to linger around it. Some later traditions claim that anyone who grasped power through violence would eventually face violence in return. Whether that warning already existed or emerged later remains uncertain. Yet the idea would prove important. Cronus accepted the weapon. The night grew still. Even the wind seemed to pause. Far above, stars shone across the darkness. Below, Earth waited. The trap was prepared. When Uranus descended once more to embrace Gaia, Cronus emerged from hiding. The moment arrived suddenly. A single act, a single strike, one decision dividing the old world from the new. The heavens trembled. The ancient order shattered. And as blood fell upon Earth, strange things began to emerge. From those drops came powerful beings, the Erinyes, spirits of vengeance, the giants, and other mysterious forces. Violence had ended one age, but it had also planted seeds for future conflict. Ancient listeners would have recognized the lesson. Actions never disappear. They echo. They transform. They return. Cronus became ruler. The Titans followed him. The sky no longer held absolute power. A new king sat upon the throne of creation. Yet beneath the celebrations, another mystery lingered. As Uranus withdrew from power, some traditions say he uttered a warning, a curse, a prophecy. The details vary. Ancient sources disagree. But the message remains remarkably consistent. One day Cronus himself would fall, and the one responsible would be his own child. The words drifted through the cosmos like distant thunder, a warning almost forgotten. Almost, but not entirely. Far away beneath stars reflected upon dark seas, destiny continued its silent work. And though Cronus believed he had secured his future, the first shadows of Zeus's story had already begun to form. The war for the cosmos was still far away. Yet its first echoes had already sounded beneath the ancient sky. You move deeper into the age of the first divine family. The world feels younger here. The mountains have sharper edges. The seas have not yet been crossed by human ships. No shepherd has climbed these slopes. No priest has lifted wine before an altar. Only the great powers of existence move across the earth, vast and half-hidden, like thoughts inside a dream. Above you stretches Uranus the sky. Below you breathes Gaia the earth. Between them, creation slowly fills with life. To ancient Greek imagination, this union was not distant or abstract. It was visible every morning, every evening. Whenever a farmer looked up from a field, whenever a sailor watched the horizon, earth and sky seemed like the first marriage. A sacred pairing that allowed everything else to come into being. Yet sacred things could also become dangerous. Love could become possession. Protection could become imprisonment. That was one of the old lessons. The children of Gaia and Uranus were born into grandeur. The Titans stood among the first powers. They were immense, beautiful, and terrifying. Oceanus encircled the world in flowing waters. Tethys carried the deep softness of rivers and springs. Hyperion glowed with heavenly brightness. Theia seemed touched by shining gold. Coeus held an ancient intelligence, the kind that searches beyond appearances. Phoebe carried a clear prophetic light. Iapetus would one day father beings tied to human destiny. Mnemosyne held memory itself. Themis carried divine order and sacred custom. And Rhea, gentle yet enduring, waited quietly in the long shadow of future sorrow. Cronus was the youngest. He watched more carefully than most. You can imagine him standing beneath a sky filled with cold stars. His face is calm. His thoughts are hidden. Perhaps he already sensed that power could be taken. Perhaps he only learned that later. Ancient traditions do not tell us everything. They leave silence around motive. And silence invites questions. Was Cronus courageous because he loved his mother? Or ambitious because he feared being small? Maybe the answer is both. Greek myth often allows two truths to stand together. The Titans were not the only children born from earth and sky. Gaia also brought forth the Cyclopes, Brontes, Sterops, Arges. Their names carried thunder, lightning, and brightness. They were craftsmen of impossible things. Later, they would shape weapons no ordinary god could make. But in this early age, they were only children of the first world. Strange children, powerful children. Children whose single eyes seemed to hold fire from inside the earth. Then came the 100-handed ones. Cottus, Briareus, Gyges. Their bodies were overwhelming. 50 heads rose from their shoulders. 100 arms moved with mountain-breaking strength. Even before war existed, they looked like war itself. Uranus feared them, or hated them. The ancient poets give us the action, but not one clear heart behind it. Some researchers believe these beings may preserve memories of older Earth powers, forces of earthquake, storm, and volcanic violence. Others see them as symbols of what early order cannot tolerate. Too much strength, too much difference, too much freedom. Whatever Uranus saw, he rejected them. He pushed them down into Gaia, into hidden chambers beneath the world, into darkness where no sun could reach. You feel the atmosphere change. The open air grows heavy. The scent of wildflowers fades. There is only damp stone, cold earth, the faint pressure of buried grief. Gaia suffered not because she was weak, but because she was forced to hold what should have lived freely. Her body became a prison. Every movement of the trapped children hurt her. Every muffled cry rose through her like a tremor. Ancient Greeks knew the earth could shake. They knew caves could groan. They knew mountains could seem alive in storms. Perhaps in these stories they heard the earth remembering pain. Time passed. How much time? No mortal calendar existed. No city kept records. No poet stood nearby with a lyre. In mythic time, ages may pass like a breath. Yet suffering does not need numbers. Gaia waited until waiting became unbearable. Then she shaped a plan. In a hidden place, perhaps a cave bright with mineral gleam, she fashioned a sickle. The blade was made of adamant. Not bronze, not iron. Something older, something harder. You can imagine it resting in her hands, curved like a crescent moon. A weapon of harvest, a weapon of separation. That detail mattered. A sickle cuts what has grown too long. It gathers what is ripe. It ends one season, so another may begin. To ancient audiences, the image would have felt both natural and terrifying. Gaia called her children. One by one, the Titans gathered. The air smelled of resin, stone dust, and distant sea wind. Perhaps torches burned against the darkness. Perhaps thunder muttered far away, though Zeus had not yet been born. Gaia spoke of pain. She spoke of their imprisoned brothers. She spoke of Uranus and his cruelty. Then she asked who would act. A silence followed. Even the Titans hesitated. Oceanus did not step forward. Hyperion did not raise his hand. Theia and Phoebe remained still. Rhea listened, and perhaps a shadow crossed her face. Did she already feel the shape of future motherhood? No tradition tells us. But myth often lets destiny whisper before it speaks. Only Cronus answered. He took the sickle. The moonlight touched its edge, and in that gleam, a divine sign appeared. A blade shaped like a young moon promised change. Yet it also warned of return. For whatever is cut away may leave a wound, and wounds remember. Gaia hid Cronus. The trap waited. When Uranus descended to cover Earth again, the youngest Titan struck. The act was violent, yet the story moves around it with ritual gravity. Sky was forced away from Earth. The first separation opened space between them. In that space the world could breathe. Light could move. Creatures yet unborn could someday live beneath the heavens. But the price was terrible. From the blood that fell upon Gaia came the Uranus ancient spirits of vengeance. They were not easily forgotten. They would pursue crimes against family, especially blood crimes. Their birth was an omen. The cosmos had gained room. But justice had also gained memory. Cronus rose as king of the Titans. The old prison seemed broken. The first tyrant seemed overthrown. Yet before fading from power, Uranus gave a warning that chilled the new ruler. As he had been cast down by his child, so Cronus would be cast down by his own. The prophecy entered him like winter, and from that moment fear sat beside him on the throne. You leave this ancient scene beneath a widening sky. Earth and heaven now stand apart. The world has room for rivers, winds, forests, and future temples. But far below, vengeance has opened its eyes. And far ahead, not yet born Zeus waits in the silence of destiny. The years that follow seem calm from a distance. If you stand upon a high mountain and gaze across the newborn world, everything appears settled. The sky arches peacefully above the earth. Rivers wander through valleys untouched by human feet. Sea winds drift across empty shores. The stars move in their eternal courses. And at the center of creation sits Cronus, king of the Titans. Yet some storms begin in silence. The prophecy spoken by Uranus never truly leaves him. You can almost feel it lingering in the air around his throne. A shadow without form, a whisper without a voice. As ancient storytellers often understood, fate rarely announces itself with constant noise. Instead, it waits, patiently, like a seed buried beneath winter soil, like distant thunder beyond the horizon. Cronus now rules the cosmos. Many traditions describe this age as a time of abundance, a golden age. The earth provides freely. The seasons move gently. There is little conflict among the divine powers. To later Greeks, this memory represented an idealized past, a world before hardship became common, a world before mortality weighed heavily upon human life. Yet beneath the beauty lies unease. Power gained through fear often remains haunted by fear. Cronus knows how easily a ruler can fall. After all, he himself overthrew his father. Every time he remembers the sickle, he remembers the prophecy. Every victory carries its own warning. You walk through the halls of the Titans. The palace stands upon vast heights. Columns rise like cliffs. Torches burn with steady flames. Their light flickers across polished stone. The scent of cedar wood and sacred oils drifts through the chambers. Outside, sea winds sweep across distant ridges. Inside, the king sits surrounded by power. Yet peace never fully reaches him. Among those closest to Cronus is Rhea, his sister, his queen, his companion through the long years of Titan rule. Ancient artists often portrayed her with dignity and quiet strength. Unlike Cronus, she does not seem consumed by suspicion. She embodies fertility, continuity, and the enduring rhythm of life. Where Cronus fears the future, Rhea helps create it. That difference will soon change everything. One night, beneath a sky crowded with stars, a dream comes to Cronus. Some versions of the myth speak only of the prophecy. Others preserve hints of dreams and omens that deepened his fear. In the dream, he sees a throne breaking apart. He sees a storm gathering above mountains. He sees a young figure crowned with lightning. The face remains hidden. The meaning does not. When Cronus awakens, cold fear grips him. The prophecy is no longer a distant possibility. It feels close, too close. Historians continue to debate how much of these dream traditions belong to the earliest myths. Yet dreams carried enormous significance in Greek culture. A dream could be a message, a warning, a glimpse of what destiny prepared. Whether sent by divine powers or rising from fear itself, such visions demanded attention. Cronus chooses caution, or perhaps obsession. Soon Rhea gives birth to their first child, a daughter, Hestia. The infant enters the world beneath sacred fires and songs. For a brief moment, joy fills the palace. Then Cronus remembers the prophecy. The happiness fades. Fear takes its place. Without hesitation, he swallows the child. The act shocks even the ancient imagination. Yet in mythology, swallowing often symbolizes possession and control. Cronus believes that if his children remain inside him, they can never challenge him. He can keep destiny trapped forever. Or so he thinks. Rhea watches in horror. The child is gone. No cradle remains. No laughter echoes through the halls. Only silence, a terrible silence. Time passes. Another child is born. Demeter. Again, Cronus swallows the infant. Then comes Hera. The same fate awaits her. The palace grows colder, not because of winter, because grief has entered its chambers. You walk beside Rhea through torch-lit corridors. The stone beneath your feet feels cool. The air smells faintly of incense. Outside, moonlight spills across distant hills. Inside, a mother carries sorrow no words can ease. Ancient listeners understood this pain deeply. The story speaks not only of gods, it speaks of fear destroying love, of power consuming what should be protected, of parents and children separated by forces larger than themselves. Rhea continues to bear children, Poseidon is born, then Hades. Each disappears into Cronus. Each becomes another prisoner. The king tells himself he is preserving his throne, yet every act strengthens the prophecy he fears. This pattern appears often in Greek mythology. Attempts to escape fate frequently help create it. The more desperately one struggles against destiny, the more tightly destiny closes its grip. Meanwhile, signs begin appearing throughout the world. Some traditions speak of strange storms moving across clear skies. Others describe birds behaving unusually. Certain temple traditions later remembered sacred fires flickering blue during rituals. No one can know how old such stories truly are. Another interpretation suggests these omens emerged as later storytellers reflected upon the coming rise of Zeus. Yet the symbolism remains powerful. Nature itself seems restless, as though the cosmos senses approaching change. One evening, Rhea stands alone upon a cliff overlooking the sea. Below, waves strike dark rocks. Above, stars glitter across endless darkness. The wind moves through her hair. She listens. Far away, thunder murmurs. Very faint, very distant. There should be no master of thunder yet, no ruler of storms, and still the sound comes. An omen, or perhaps only imagination. No one can say. Yet the moment lingers in memory. A question hangs unanswered. Is destiny already searching for a path into the world? Soon Rhea becomes pregnant again. Another child approaches. The sixth, the final child. The prophecy seems closer than ever. Cronus watches constantly. Fear has become part of him. It sits beside him at meals. It follows him through palace corridors. It waits beside his throne. Rhea understands that if nothing changes, this child will vanish like the others. A mother's grief begins transforming into something else. Resolve. Ancient myths often give heroes weapons. Rhea receives no sword, no armor, no army, only determination. Yet determination can reshape the world. As her time draws near, she remembers Gaia, the ancient earth, her mother, the one who once suffered beneath the cruelty of Uranus. Perhaps only Gaia truly understands her pain. Perhaps only Gaia knows how to defeat a ruler consumed by fear. The old earth listens, and somewhere beneath mountains and forests, a plan begins to awaken. A plan born from memory. A plan connected to earlier prophecies. A plan that will carry one infant far from the palace of the Titans. The sea winds grow stronger. The stars shine brighter over distant islands. And beyond the horizon waits a hidden cave where the future king of the cosmos will soon draw his first breath. The nights grow longer as Rhea approaches the birth of her final child. Every step through the palace feels watched. Every whispered conversation seems dangerous. The halls of the Titans remain magnificent, yet to Rhea, they have become a prison. Torchlight dances upon towering columns. Sacred braziers glow with steady flames. Servants move quietly through marble chambers. Nothing appears unusual, and yet everything has changed. Fear now sits at the center of Titan power. You can sense it in Cronus. He speaks calmly. He rules efficiently. He performs the rituals expected of a king. But behind every decision lurks the prophecy. The warning spoken by Uranus has become the hidden ruler of his thoughts. Ancient Greeks often understood prophecy in this way. The prediction itself was powerful, but the reaction to it was often even more powerful. A prophecy could reshape lives long before it came true. Cronus has spent years trying to prevent fate. Yet fate continues moving toward him, quietly, patiently, like water finding its path downhill. One evening, beneath a sky crowded with silver stars, Rhea leaves the palace. The moon hangs low above the sea. Cold winds drift inland from distant waters. The scent of salt fills the night air. She travels alone, or perhaps not entirely alone. Some traditions suggest divine companions guided her. Others say the earth herself opened hidden pathways. Ancient storytellers preserve different versions. The exact details remain uncertain. What matters is the journey. Rhea seeks Gaia, the ancient mother, the earth who once suffered under tyranny. You walk with her through sacred groves. Olive trees twist beneath moonlight. Cypress branches sway softly overhead. Owls call from distant hillsides. The world feels hushed, as though creation itself is listening. At last she reaches a hidden place, a cavern where roots descend into darkness, a place older than temples, older than kings, older than memory. There Gaia speaks, not with anger, not with thunder, but with the slow certainty of the earth itself. She has seen generations rise and fall. She remembers the pain of imprisonment. She remembers the overthrow of Uranus. She remembers the curse spoken afterward. Now another turning point approaches. Gaia reveals a plan. The child must not remain near Cronus. The child must be hidden, far away, beyond the reach of the fearful king. An island waits. Crete, a land of mountains, caves, and windswept shores. Even in later centuries, Crete held a special place in Greek imagination. Its ancient peaks disappeared into mist. Its caves seemed connected to worlds beneath the earth. Its sacred landscapes carried an air of mystery. Some researchers believe that local Cretan traditions helped shape many stories surrounding Zeus's childhood. The island would become more than a hiding place. It would become the cradle of destiny. A divine sign appears before Rhea departs. A great eagle circles above the mountains. 3 times it passes across the moon. Then it disappears into darkness. Ancient Greeks often viewed birds as messengers of divine will. Whether the eagle truly appeared or entered the story later, no one can know. Yet the omen remains. A silent promise. A silent warning. The future is moving. The time of birth arrives. Far from the palace of Cronus. Far from Titan eyes. The night is cool. Mountain winds carry the scent of pine and wild herbs. Stars fill the heavens from horizon to horizon. Within a hidden cave, Rhea brings her child into the world. The infant is Zeus, the youngest of the children, the most vulnerable, the most dangerous. At first he seems ordinary, a newborn wrapped in cloth. Small hands, quiet breathing, eyes not yet focused upon the world. Yet around him hangs a strange atmosphere, not power, not yet, possibility. The Greeks often found meaning in such moments. Great destinies begin quietly. Heroes enter the world as helpless infants. Kings begin as children. Even divine rulers must first survive. Rhea gazes upon her son. For the first time in many years, hope returns. Not certainty, hope. The difference matters. She does not know whether Zeus will succeed. No prophecy guarantees victory. Prophecies reveal possibilities. The path itself must still be walked. Outside the cave, another mystery unfolds. The stars seem unusually bright. Some traditions claim a meteor crossed the sky. Others describe distant thunder despite clear weather. Historians continue to debate whether such details belong to later embellishments. Yet ancient audiences loved celestial signs. The heavens often reflected events occurring below. When a future ruler was born, the cosmos itself seemed to respond. Rhea cannot remain long. The deception must begin immediately. She returns toward Cronus carrying something wrapped in cloth. From a distance, it appears to be a child. It is not. It is a stone. A smooth stone carefully covered and presented as the newborn infant. The image is unforgettable. A king so frightened by prophecy that he no longer sees clearly. A mother so desperate to save her child that she trusts a dangerous gamble. When Rhea enters the palace, Cronus wastes no time. Fear acts quickly. Without examining the bundle, he seizes it. Without tenderness, without hesitation, without doubt, he swallows the stone. The deception succeeds. For a moment, for a year, perhaps for many years. No one can say exactly how long, but Zeus lives. That fact alone changes everything. Far away on Crete, the child remains hidden. Ancient traditions preserve several accounts of his guardians. In one version, the divine goat Amalthea nourishes him. In another, a sacred nymph provides care. Some stories combine both traditions. Oral storytelling often allows multiple truths to coexist. The exact details matter less than the symbolism. Nature itself protects the future king. Earth shelters him. Animals sustain him. The island becomes his refuge. Yet danger remains. The cry of an infant could reveal everything. If Cronus discovers the deception, the child will perish. And so the guardians devise a remarkable solution. Warriors known as the Curetes gather near the cave. Whenever Zeus cries, they clash their shields together. Bronze strikes bronze. The sound echoes through mountain valleys. The noise conceals the child's voice. You can almost hear it. Metal ringing beneath starlight. Winds sweeping through pine forests. The distant crash of waves below coastal cliffs. Within that chorus of sound, a child survives. The scene carried deep meaning for ancient listeners. Civilization often begins with protection. Communities form around what must be preserved. Before Zeus can rule, others must defend him. Before destiny can unfold, someone must keep hope alive. Years begin to pass. The infant grows. The cave becomes a sanctuary. The mountains become his first kingdom. And somewhere beyond those ridges, unknown even to himself, waits the throne of the cosmos. For now, he sleeps beneath stone ceilings and flickering firelight. But above the island, clouds occasionally gather around the peaks, and when distant thunder rolls across the sea, some wonder whether the hidden child is already dreaming of storms. The child grows beneath the mountains of Crete, far from the throne of Cronus, far from the fears that rule the palace of the Titans. Zeus spends his earliest years among caves, forests, and windswept cliffs. You walk through that hidden world with him. Morning sunlight spills across rocky slopes. Wildflowers bloom between stones, warmed by the Mediterranean sun. Bees drift lazily through thyme and lavender. Below the mountains, the sea stretches endlessly toward distant horizons. The air smells of pine resin, salt, and earth. It is a peaceful place. Yet beneath that peace lies secrecy. Every person who protects Zeus understands the danger. If Cronus learns the truth, the future ends before it begins. The cave itself becomes part of the legend. Even centuries later, travelers on Crete would visit sacred caverns associated with the childhood of Zeus. Some researchers believe these caves preserved memories of ancient religious traditions older than classical Greece. Offerings were left there. Ceremonies were performed there. People entered carrying prayers. The hidden child of myth became connected to real landscapes, places where stone darkness and mystery invited reflection. Inside the cave, sacred fires burn softly. Their smoke curls upward into cracks in the rock. The light flickers against rough walls. At night, shadows dance like living things. The atmosphere feels ancient, timeless, as though the cave exists slightly outside ordinary reality. Zeus grows quickly, not because he is already king, not because he commands lightning, but because life itself possesses momentum. Each season leaves its mark. Each year carries him further from infancy. The nymphs who care for him watch with wonder. Ancient traditions preserve many names. Among them is Adrastea. Another is Ida. Sometimes storytellers disagree about which nymph raised him. Sometimes they share the responsibility. Such differences are common in Greek mythology. Stories traveled from region to region. Each community preserved details important to them, yet all agree on one thing. The future ruler of heaven was nurtured with devotion. The divine goat Amalthea appears frequently in these traditions. Her milk sustained Zeus. Later myths would remember her with affection and reverence. One tale claims that one of her horns became the cornucopia, the horn of plenty, a symbol of abundance. Whether this connection belonged to the oldest stories remains uncertain. Still, the image feels appropriate. The child destined to rule the cosmos survives because nourishment is freely given. Strength begins not with conquest, but with care. Outside the cave, the Curetes continue their watch. Bronze shields flash beneath sunlight. Their armor gleams. Whenever danger seems near, they perform their sacred dance. Their feet strike the earth. Their weapons clash. The sound echoes across the mountains. You hear it rolling through the valleys, a rhythm both protective and fierce. To later Greeks, these guardians represented more than warriors. They embodied vigilance. The idea that what matters most must sometimes be defended before it can flourish. Zeus grows surrounded by such devotion. Yet childhood does not last forever. Soon curiosity awakens within him. You can imagine him wandering along mountain paths, climbing ridges, exploring hidden groves, watching eagles circle high overhead. The world feels enormous. Every horizon invites questions. Every distant peak suggests another mystery. Who am I? Where did I come from? Why do my guardians sometimes fall silent when certain subjects arise? The myths do not always describe these moments directly, yet they seem inevitable. No child remains content with unanswered questions forever, particularly a child destined for greatness. One evening, as the sun sinks into the western sea, Zeus experiences a dream. Dreams often occupy an important place in Greek mythology. They serve as messages, warnings, or glimpses into possibilities beyond ordinary sight. In the dream, Zeus stands upon a mountain. Storm clouds gather around him. The sky darkens. Far below, countless figures look upward. Then an eagle descends from the heavens. Its wings stretch wider than ship sails. Its eyes shine with strange intelligence. The bird lands nearby. For a moment it simply watches. Then it speaks no words. Instead it turns toward the horizon, toward a distant palace hidden by clouds. When Zeus awakens, the dream lingers. Its meaning remains uncertain, yet he cannot forget it. A question enters his thoughts. A question that will not leave. What waits beyond Crete? Ancient listeners would have recognized the significance immediately. The dream acts as a divine sign, not a command, not a guarantee. merely a hint. A suggestion that destiny has begun to stir. As years pass, Zeus develops qualities that distinguish him from others. Strength comes naturally. So does confidence. But another trait emerges as well: leadership. The ability to inspire trust. The ability to unite different people toward a common purpose. These qualities matter. Throughout Greek mythology, physical power alone rarely proves sufficient. Kings require wisdom. Heroes require judgment. Rulers require allies. Zeus slowly learns these lessons. The island itself becomes his teacher. The sea teaches patience. Storms teach respect. Mountains teach endurance. The forests teach observation. Nature shapes him long before he ever approaches a throne. One day, during a walk among high ridges, Zeus encounters another omen. Clouds gather suddenly around the peaks. A strong wind sweeps across the mountain. The temperature drops. Then lightning flashes far out over the sea. Not once, several times. Bright silver fire illuminates the horizon. Zeus watches in silence. Something within him responds. Not fear, recognition. The sensation is difficult to describe, as though part of himself already belongs to the storm. Ancient Greeks often connected divine powers to natural phenomena. A god was not merely associated with thunder. A god existed within the meaning of thunder. The growing connection between Zeus and the storm reflects this worldview. Nature and divinity mirror one another. Yet another mystery remains unresolved. Why was Zeus hid? Why do his guardians exchange uneasy glances whenever questions arise? The answers lie beyond Crete, beyond the mountains, beyond the sea, in the halls of Cronus, and those answers grow closer each year. Meanwhile, in the palace of the Titans, fear continues its quiet work. Cronus believes himself safe. The stone remains hidden within him. The prophecy appears defeated. But appearances can deceive. The king occasionally experiences troubling dreams. He sees storms gathering over distant islands. He hears the clash of bronze echoing through valleys. He sees a young figure standing against a dark horizon. Each time he awakens uneasy. Each time he dismisses the vision. Yet the dreams return. Some researchers suggest these recurring dreams symbolize guilt. Others view them as mythological expressions of inevitable fate. Perhaps they are both. Greek stories often leave room for multiple interpretations. The uncertainty itself becomes meaningful. For now, neither Cronus nor Zeus fully understands what approaches. One hides from destiny. The other walks toward it without knowing. The distance between them slowly narrows. The child in the cave has become a young god. The years of concealment are ending, and soon a new figure will enter Zeus's life. A figure known for wisdom, strategy, and foresight. A figure who understands that strength alone cannot overthrow a king. Her name is Metis, and with her arrival, the first true steps toward revolution will begin. You meet Metis at the edge of a sacred spring. The water rises from stone clear and cold, shaded by laurel and olive trees. Morning light filters through leaves. Bees hum softly among wild blossoms. The air smells of wet rock herbs and distant sea salt. Zeus has come down from the higher slopes alone. He is no longer a child. His shoulders have broadened. His gaze has sharpened. Yet something unfinished remains within him. He has strength, but not direction. He has dreams, but not answers. He has heard thunder answer something hidden inside his heart. But he still does not know the full story of his birth. Metis waits beside the spring as though she has always been there. She is not imposing like the Titans. She does not need height to command attention. Her power is quieter. It lives in her eyes, in her patience, in the way silence gathers around her before she speaks. Ancient Greeks remembered Metis as wisdom counsel and cunning intelligence. Not book learning, not cold cleverness, a deeper kind of thought. The ability to see paths where others see walls. Zeus approaches carefully. The spring murmurs between them. For a moment neither speaks. Then Metis tells him what his guardians have hidden. She tells him of Cronus, the prophecy, the swallowed children, the stone wrapped in cloth, the cave, the bronze shields, the years of danger. You feel the world change around Zeus as he listens. The mountains seem less peaceful now. The sea seems farther away. Childhood once whole breaks open and reveals its secret foundation. He was not simply raised in hiding. He was saved for war. A chill moves through the grove. Perhaps only wind. Perhaps an omen. The leaves tremble though the air has stilled. Metis watches his face. She knows anger will come first. It always does. Anger at Cronus. Anger at silence. Anger at destiny. Yet beneath anger, another feeling rises. Grief. Zeus has siblings, living siblings, trapped inside the father who feared them. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon. Names he has never spoken now enter his heart. They are strangers. They are family. They are prisoners. This knowledge changes him. A lonely hidden child becomes a brother. A survivor becomes a liberator. Metis warns him gently. Cronos cannot be defeated by force alone. The Titan king is ancient, suspicious. Surrounded by power, a reckless attack would fail. The prophecy may promise his fall, but prophecy does not replace wisdom. Ancient listeners understood this lesson clearly. Destiny opens a door. Someone must still know how to walk through it. Metis reveals her plan. Cronos must be made to release what he has swallowed. Not by battle. Not yet. By deception. A potion must be prepared. A draught strong enough to trouble the stomach of a god. Some traditions say Metis herself made it. Others suggest Gaia gave the ingredients. Another version remembers Zeus serving it while disguised as a cupbearer. The details differ. The pattern remains. Wisdom prepares the way for thunder. You follow Metis through a hidden grove. There beneath dark cypress branches, she gathers bitter herbs, roots with pale fibers, leaves silvered by moonlight, flowers that open only at dusk. The scent is sharp and strange, earthy, medicinal, almost metallic. A small sacred fire burns beside a stone basin. Smoke curls upward into the night. Zeus watches closely. He is learning that power has many forms. A hand can throw a spear. A mind can overturn a kingdom. As Metis works, she gives another warning. When the children return, they may not immediately trust him. Why should they? They have known only darkness. They have suffered because of a prophecy about him. They may see him as rescuer, or as cause. No one can know. This uncertainty troubles Zeus more than he expects. He had imagined rage against Cronos. He had not imagined the delicate work of earning love. The potion darkens in the basin. Its surface reflects the stars. For a moment, Zeus sees something within it. A palace hall, a throne, a storm breaking through a roof of cloud. Then the vision vanishes. Was it a divine sign? A trick of firelight? Even ancient traditions leave such moments uncertain. But Zeus remembers. Metis tells him the time has come to leave Crete. The words settle heavily. The island that protected him must now release him. He walks one last time through the familiar paths. Past the cave of his infancy. Past the place where Amalthea fed him. Past the clearing where bronze shields once rang to hide his cries. Every stone seems to carry memory. Every wind seems to whisper farewell. This is one of the gentler sorrows inside the myth. To become what destiny demands, Zeus must leave the world that saved him. At dawn he stands above the sea. Clouds gather low over the water. An eagle circles overhead. The same sign Rhea once saw, or so the old stories suggest. The bird turns toward the north, toward the lands of Cronos, toward danger, toward family. Zeus follows. You travel with him across a living Greek world before Greece had a name, over dark waters where future ships will sail, past islands that will one day hold shrines and harbors, past cliffs where waves strike stone with steady rhythm. The air grows cooler as he nears the realm of the Titans. Behind him lies concealment. Ahead lies the first act of rebellion. Metis walks beside him, calm and watchful. In her hands, she carries the draught. In Zeus's heart, thunder gathers quietly. And somewhere in the palace of Cronos, the old king dreams again of a stone turning heavy inside him. The palace of Cronos rises beyond a veil of mountain mist. You see it first at dawn when pale light touches the highest stones. It does not look like the warm cave of Crete. It does not breathe with bees' herbs and sea wind. It stands cold and immense, built for power rather than welcome. Great columns climb into shadow. Bronze doors reflect the morning sky. Sacred fires burn in blackened basins, their smoke drifting upward like unanswered prayers. Zeus approaches carefully. Beside him walks Metis. Her steps are quiet. Her face reveals nothing. She carries the draught, hidden beneath layers of simple cloth, as though it were only a small gift for a royal table. Yet inside that vessel rests the first true weapon against Cronos. Not a sword, not lightning, a bitter cup. Ancient Greek audiences would have understood the elegance of this reversal. Cronos once swallowed his children to master fate. Now his own body will become the place where fate escapes him. Zeus enters not as a challenger, but as a servant. Some traditions say he disguised himself as a cupbearer. Others leave the method unclear. Perhaps Metis arranged his place in the hall through secret influence. Perhaps Gaia herself bent the pathways of destiny. No one can know. The uncertainty makes the moment feel even more fragile. One wrong glance could end everything. Inside the palace, the air is thick with incense and old fear. Titan lords gather beneath high ceilings. Their voices echo softly. Servants move like shadows between long tables. Oil lamps glow against polished stone. Outside wind presses against the walls. Inside, Cronus sits upon his throne. He is still magnificent. Time has not weakened him. His gaze is steady. His presence fills the chamber. Yet Zeus sees what others may not notice. A tension in the king's hands. A watchfulness in his eyes. A ruler haunted by a warning never forgotten. The prophecy of Uranus still lives there. It hides behind every breath. Zeus lowers his head. He must not stare too long. He must not let anger reveal him. Metis has warned him. A storm that breaks too early is only rain. A storm that waits can split the heavens. The feast begins. Food is placed before Cronus. Bread, dark olives, roasted meat, honey, and wine. The smells should feel rich and comforting. But for Zeus, every scent sharpens the danger. His palms feel warm. His throat tightens. Somewhere beneath his calm face, the hidden child of Crete remembers the cave. The bronze shields. The eagle circling above the moon. All those signs have led him here. At last the cup is prepared. The draught of Metis mingles with wine. Its bitterness is masked by sweetness. Its power waits beneath the surface. Zeus lifts it. The hall seems to quiet. Perhaps no one else notices. Perhaps the whole cosmos notices. He steps toward Cronus. The old king accepts the cup. For one breath, Zeus sees his father clearly. Not only as tyrant, not only as devourer, but as a being ruined by fear. That recognition does not excuse him. Yet it deepens the sorrow of the myth. Cronus drinks. Nothing happens at first. The feast continues. Voices rise. Flames flicker. Wind moves along the outer walls. Then Cronus stiffens. His face changes. The cup falls from his hand. It strikes the floor with a ringing sound, a divine sign. A sound like bronze shields clashing in a faraway Cretan valley. Zeus steps back. Metis remains still. Cronus grips the arms of his throne. The draught works through him like hidden fire. His body rebels against what fear once forced it to contain. First comes the stone, the false child, the object Rhea gave him in desperation. It emerges from him and falls heavily upon the floor. The sound echoes through the hall. Many later traditions remembered that stone as sacred. Some said it was set at Delphi, the navel of the world. Their worshippers would see it as a reminder that deception, fate, and divine birth were bound together. Surviving evidence indicates that sacred stones held deep religious importance in Greek sanctuaries. They could mark presence, memory, contact between earth and heaven. But in this moment, the stone is not yet a temple object. It is proof. Cronus has been deceived. Then the children return. Hestia emerges first or so, one tradition suggests. The eldest swallowed, the last restored. Then Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon. The order varies in ancient telling, but the wonder remains. They come back into the world grown and divine, not dead, not destroyed. Their eyes open to light. Their bodies remember darkness. For a moment, no one speaks. The palace has become a birthplace. Zeus looks at them. His siblings, the family he has never known. Hestia carries a deep stillness like a sacred flame protected through long night. Demeter seems filled with the memory of buried seeds and returning life. Hera stands proud, wounded, and watchful. Poseidon's gaze flashes like a restless sea. Hades is quiet, shadowed, and unreadable. They see Zeus, the stranger who freed them, the brother whose prophecy caused their imprisonment. No easy love begins here. Only recognition, only shock, only the first fragile thread of alliance. Cronus rises in fury. The hall trembles. A curse pours from him, not formal, not ceremonial, but terrible. He warns that any child who wins a throne through rebellion will fear rebellion forever. The words strike Zeus like cold wind. It is the old curse renewed. Power taken by violence carries memory within it. The warning will follow him long after victory. Suddenly the palace erupts. Some titans reach for weapons. Others hesitate. The returned gods gather near Zeus. Metis signals toward a hidden passage. There is no time for triumph. Liberation is only the beginning. War has awakened. You flee with them through corridors lit by shaking flame. Behind you, Cronus roars. Ahead, the mountain air waits. And above the palace, clouds gather in broad, dark folds, as though the sky itself has come to witness the first breath of the Olympians. The mountain air strikes your face as you emerge from the palace. Cold, sharp, alive. Behind you, the halls of Cronus echo with alarm. Voices rise through the stone corridors. Bronze doors slam shut. Messengers race across ridges and valleys, carrying news that will shake the cosmos. The swallowed children have returned. The prophecy lives, and for the first time since the fall of Uranus, the throne of the Titans is no longer secure. Zeus stands among his newly freed siblings. For a moment, no one speaks. Clouds drift across the peaks. A distant wind carries the scent of pine forests and approaching rain. The silence feels strange. These gods are family, yet they are also strangers. They have shared suffering but not life. They know one another's names. They do not yet know one another's hearts. Ancient myths often understand that blood alone does not create trust. Trust must be built, especially after pain. Hestia studies Zeus quietly. Her gaze carries patience. The long imprisonment has not extinguished her calmness. If anything, it has deepened it. She seems like a sacred flame that survived beneath ashes. Demeter watches the world around her with wonder. After ages trapped within Cronus, every tree, every cloud, every breath of wind feels precious. The earth itself appears new. Poseidon stands apart for a time. There is strength in him, restlessness too. The sea already seems to live somewhere behind his eyes. Hades remains even more distant. He says little. His expression reveals almost nothing. Some later traditions would emphasize his sternness and solitude. Yet here at the beginning, perhaps he is simply absorbing a freedom he never expected to experience. Hera watches Zeus carefully, more carefully than the others, not with hostility, not with affection, with judgment. Ancient Greek audiences often recognized Hera's intelligence. She is not easily persuaded. She wants to know whether this brother deserves loyalty. Zeus understands the challenge. Freedom alone is not enough. The future requires unity, and unity cannot be commanded. Not yet. Metis steps forward. The mountain wind lifts strands of her hair. The clouds above seem darker now. A storm is gathering somewhere beyond the horizon. Perhaps only weather. Perhaps another sign. The old stories rarely separate the two. She explains the truth. Cronus will not surrender. The Titans who remain loyal to him will not surrender. The return of the children marks the beginning of conflict, not its end. The words settle heavily over the group. A war is coming, not a battle, not a raid. A war. The kind of struggle that changes the shape of the world. The Greeks later gave it a name, the Titanomachy, the war between Titans and Olympians. Yet standing here, among the mountains, that future remains uncertain. No one knows who will win. No one knows how long the struggle will last. The outcome that later generations take for granted is still hidden. That uncertainty gives the moment its power. Destiny may whisper, but destiny has not yet spoken clearly. The group begins its journey towards safety. They travel through valleys wrapped in mist, across ridges where eagles circle, through forests where ancient trees seem older than memory. You walk beside them, beneath skies filled with shifting light. At night they rest near sacred fires. The crackle of burning wood mingles with the sound of distant streams. Stars fill the heavens, countless stars. Ancient Greeks often imagined the night sky as a living map of divine presence. Every constellation carried stories. Every movement of the heavens hinted at deeper meanings. One night, while the fire burns low, an omen appears. A brilliant star streaks across the darkness. It leaves a glowing trail before disappearing beyond the western horizon. The gods fall silent. Even Poseidon stops speaking. Even Hera looks upward. Was it a sign of victory? A warning, a reminder that great powers rise and fall. No agreement follows. Ancient traditions preserved many interpretations of celestial events, and perhaps uncertainty itself is part of the lesson. Not every sign comes with an explanation. Some must simply be witnessed. As the days pass, Zeus begins learning about his siblings. Hestia values peace above glory. Demeter cares deeply about life growth and nourishment. Poseidon enjoys action and challenge. Hades prefers careful thought before commitment. Hera notices weaknesses others overlook. Each possesses strengths. Each carries scars. Their imprisonment shaped them differently. And Zeus slowly realizes something important. He cannot become king alone, even if the prophecy favors him, even if the storm responds to him. A ruler without allies becomes another tyrant. The realization marks a quiet transformation. The hidden child of Crete is becoming a leader. Leadership. The Greeks often believed required more than courage. It required listening, understanding, patience, qualities that do not always appear in stories of war. Yet they matter deeply. One evening, while camped beside a mountain spring, Zeus speaks privately with Hades. The stars reflect upon the water. The night air feels cool against the skin. For a long time, neither says much. Then Hades asks a simple question. What happens after victory? Zeus does not answer immediately. The question troubles him. Everyone talks about defeating Cronus. No one talks about what comes afterward. Ancient myths sometimes pause at such moments. The future kingdom matters as much as the struggle to create it. If the Olympians win, what kind of rulers will they become? The question remains unanswered. For now, far away meanwhile, Cronus gathers his forces. The Titans answer his call. Not all of them support him gladly. Some remember Gaia's suffering. Some question his actions. Some researchers believe ancient audiences may have viewed certain Titans with sympathy. The old order was not entirely evil. The new order was not automatically good. The conflict is more complex than simple darkness against light. Yet loyalty, fear, and history bind many Titans to their king. The armies begin assembling. Across mountains, across shores, across the broad young world. The air itself seems tense. Animals behave strangely. Winds shift without warning. Sacred fires burn brighter than usual. Priests in later generations would remember such stories and see divine signs everywhere. The cosmos appears to be holding its breath. And somewhere high above the sleeping earth, thunder murmurs beyond the clouds. Still distant, still waiting, but closer than ever before. The first gathering of the Olympians has ended. The first bonds have formed. The first questions about the future have been asked. Ahead lies the war itself. 10 years of struggle. 10 years of uncertainty. 10 years that will decide who governs sky, sea, earth, and the hidden places below. The first council of the Olympians takes place beneath an open sky. No marble palace shelters them. No throne room surrounds them. The future rulers of the cosmos gather instead upon a high mountain plateau where cold winds sweep across stone and grass. Below, valleys disappear into morning mist. Above, clouds drift slowly through endless blue. The setting feels appropriate. Nothing has been decided yet. The Olympians possess freedom. They do not yet possess a kingdom. A sacred fire burns at the center of the gathering. Its smoke rises straight upward. Not even the wind disturbs it. Several among the gods notice this immediately. A divine sign, perhaps, or perhaps only chance. Ancient Greek storytellers often left such moments unresolved. The mystery itself allowed listeners to ponder deeper meanings. Zeus studies the unmoving column of smoke. Then he turns toward his siblings. For the first time, they must speak openly about what comes next. The conversation begins cautiously. Hestia favors stability. She has endured enough conflict. The thought of war troubles her, not because she doubts the justice of their cause, but because she understands the suffering conflict creates. Her words carry quiet wisdom. Many later Greek traditions associated Hestia with the hearth, the center of every home, the place where peace is protected. Even now, before Olympus exists, that nature already shines through her. Demeter agrees in part. She speaks of growth harvests and the rhythms that sustain life. Wars destroy fields. Wars interrupt the seasons. Wars leave emptiness behind. Her concerns are practical. The earth can heal. But healing requires time. Poseidon responds differently. The sea-hearted god has little patience for delay. His eyes flash with energy whenever action is discussed. Every day Cronus remains on the throne feels like an insult. Every moment of waiting gives the Titans more time to prepare. The sea does not remain still forever. Neither does Poseidon. Hades listens quietly. Then when the others finish, he speaks. His voice is calm, measured. He points out what everyone already knows. War is coming whether they desire it or not. Cronus will never accept their existence. The prophecy guarantees fear. Fear guarantees conflict. His words settle over the gathering like evening mist. No one argues, because no one truly disagrees. The question is not whether war can be avoided. The question is how it can be survived. Zeus listens to every voice. This matters. In later centuries, Greeks often admired leaders who could hear opposing perspectives before deciding. A ruler who ignores counsel risks repeating old mistakes. The memory of Cronus remains fresh enough to serve as warning. At last, Zeus speaks. His words are simple. The Olympians will fight, but they will fight together. No single god can defeat the Titans alone. Unity must become their strength. The decision receives cautious agreement. Not enthusiasm, not certainty. Agreement. For now, that is enough. The council ends. Preparations begin. Days pass, then weeks. The world itself seems to change. Everywhere signs of approaching conflict appear. You travel across the landscape and witness them. Mountain peaks vanish behind strange storms. Seabirds abandon familiar nesting grounds. Wolves howl beneath cloudless skies. Sacred springs bubble more violently than before. In later generations, priests would preserve stories of these omens. Historians continue to debate how ancient such traditions truly are. Yet they reveal something important about Greek thought. The cosmos was alive. When great events approached, nature participated. Nothing remained entirely separate. One evening, Zeus climbs a ridge alone. The sunset paints the western sky in gold and crimson. The sea below glitters like hammered bronze. The air smells of pine and salt. For a while, he simply watches. Leadership often looks glorious from a distance. Up close, it can feel lonely. The responsibility now resting upon him grows heavier each day. His siblings trust him more than before. Their hopes gather around him. So do their fears. He thinks about Hades' question. What happens after victory? The answer still escapes him. A kingdom has not yet been imagined clearly. Only the war. Only the immediate danger. Far below, a shadow passes across the sea. Zeus looks up. An eagle circles overhead. The bird has appeared before, in dreams, in omens, at moments of transition. It descends briefly, then rises again toward the clouds. No message follows. No voice speaks. Yet the encounter leaves him thoughtful. Perhaps destiny does not reveal everything at once. Perhaps wisdom comes in fragments. The eagle disappears. The mystery remains. Meanwhile, in the realm of the Titans, Cronus holds his own council. The atmosphere there feels very different. The halls are magnificent, but tension hangs everywhere. Torches flicker against dark stone. The smell of smoke fills the air. Titan lords gather around their king. Some are fierce in their loyalty. Others are uncertain. Oceanus, according to some traditions, may not have fully embraced the coming conflict. Different ancient sources preserve different loyalties. The details remain debated. What remains clear is this. The Titans are not perfectly united. Fear cracks even ancient foundations. Cronus senses those cracks. His temper grows sharper, his patience shorter. The prophecy has wounded him more deeply than any weapon. That is one reason prophecies hold such power in myth. They attack certainty, and certainty is often the true foundation of authority. One night, Cronus experiences another dream. He stands alone in a vast field beneath storm clouds. The sickle of adamant lies at his feet, not in his hand, at his feet, broken. Above him, thunder rolls across the heavens. Then a voice speaks from somewhere unseen, not hostile, not kind, simply inevitable. The age of fathers is ending. Cronus awakens before dawn. Cold sweat covers his skin. He tells no one, but the dream follows him throughout the day. Ancient audiences would have recognized the symbolism immediately. The sickle once ended one age. Now it foretells the ending of another. The cycle is repeating. Far from the Titan halls, Zeus gathers his followers once more. The sacred fire burns brightly. The stars emerge overhead. One by one, the Olympians stand beside him. Not because victory is certain, not because fear has vanished, but because they have chosen a path. Ahead waits the first great clash of the Titanomachy. The war for the cosmos is no longer approaching. It has begun. The Titans prepare beneath a sky that seems lower than before. Dark clouds gather over the high places of the world. Not storm clouds alone, something older, something heavier. The air feels charged with expectation, as though the heavens remember the first overthrow and tremble at the thought of another. You stand near the outer lands of Cronus, where messengers arrive from every direction. They come across mountain passes. They come along shorelines where black waves strike stone. They come from deep valleys still wet with dawn mist. Each carries the same news. The children have returned. Zeus lives. The prophecy has awakened. Inside the halls of Cronus, torchlight burns through the day. No one speaks softly now. Weapons are brought from ancient vaults. Armor is polished beneath red flame. Old banners are lifted from storage chambers, smelling of dust oil and cedar. Titan power begins to assemble. Cronus walks among them with a face like carved stone. To his followers, he appears certain. To himself, certainty has become a performance. The dream of the broken sickle remains with him. He sees it whenever he closes his eyes. He remembers the voice. The age of fathers is ending. Was it truly a divine warning? Was it fear speaking through sleep? No one can know. Yet the dream changes him. He becomes harsher, more watchful, more determined to crush rebellion before it spreads. The Titans do not all respond alike. Some stand beside him eagerly. Others obey because they fear disorder more than tyranny. A few hesitate. In ancient traditions, the loyalties of several Titans remain complicated. Oceanus, in some accounts, does not join the war against Zeus. Themis and Mnemosyne also appear closer to the future Olympian order. Surviving stories are not perfectly uniform. That uncertainty matters. The old world was not a single block of darkness. It was a family. And families fracture slowly. You see Iapetus standing in the torchlit hall. He is stern and proud. His sons will one day carry their own burdens within mythology. Atlas, Prometheus, Epimetheus, Menoetius. Already their names seem touched by future sorrow. Prometheus watches events carefully. He is a Titan by birth, yet his mind does not move like Cronos's. Where others see loyalty, he sees consequence. Where others hear commands, he hears the hidden shape of things. Ancient Greeks remembered him as foresight, the one who thinks ahead. And perhaps he already senses that Cronos is fighting not only Zeus, but time itself. Still he says little. Some silences are survival. Outside the palace, omens multiply. A sacred bull refuses to enter the enclosure prepared for sacrifice. Ravens gather on the roofs before dawn. A spring near the eastern gate runs cloudy for 3 days. Priests and seers disagree over the meanings. Some say the signs favor Cronos. Others whisper that the earth itself is uneasy. Historians continue to debate how later ritual traditions influence these details. Yet the feeling is unmistakable. The world does not rest. Far away, Zeus gathers strength among the mountains. The Olympians do not possess the grandeur of the Titans. They have no ancient palace, no endless storehouses of weapons, no vast history of rule. They have only one another, a prophecy, and the dangerous hope that the future may be different. Their camp lies beneath pine and cypress. Smoke rises from small fires. The smell of roasted barley, olive oil, and damp wool fills the evening air. The scene feels almost humble, yet greatness often begins without splendor. Hestia tends the central flame. She does it quietly. No command is needed. The fire becomes the heart of the camp. Around it, arguments soften. Plans become possible. Fear becomes bearable. Demeter walks among the lower valleys, studying the earth. She notices where armies may pass, where roots break stone, where fields might one day grow if war does not ruin them forever. Her mind remains tied to life even as destruction approaches. Poseidon trains near the sea. Waves crash harder when his temper rises. Spray strikes his face. He laughs into the wind, but beneath the laughter lives impatience. He wants the war to begin. He wants the old king broken. He wants the world to move. Hades studies the shadows of ravines and caves. He thinks of hidden routes, retreats, ambushes, the places others ignore. His gift is not brightness, but depth. Hera moves between them all. She listens. She questions. She notices pride in Zeus before Zeus notices it in himself. One evening she warns him, "Do not become Cronos in the name of defeating him." The words fall quietly. No thunder answers. No eagle appears. Yet the warning enters him. A true omen need not come from the sky. Sometimes it comes from someone brave enough to speak. Zeus says nothing for a while. He looks toward the distant horizon where Titan fires glow faintly beyond the mountains. The warning echoes beside older ones. The curse of Uranus. The dream of the eagle. The question of Hades. What happens after victory? The callbacks gather like stars in his mind. Each one offers guidance. Each one offers danger. That night Zeus dreams. He stands between two thrones. One is made of black stone, the other of white cloud. Both are empty. Above them hangs a thunderbolt not yet forged. Below them opens a dark pit descending beyond sight. A voice, perhaps Gaia's, speaks from beneath the earth. Choose not only how to win. Choose what winning means. He wakes before dawn. The camp is quiet. Mist lies low over the ground. The sacred fire has burned down to red embers. Soon the armies will meet. But before the first great clash, Zeus understands something new. The war for the cosmos is not only a struggle against Cronos, it is a struggle against becoming the thing he hates. Across the world, Titan horns sound in the distance. The mountains answer with echoes. The young gods rise. and the first day of open war moves slowly toward them beneath a darkening sky. Dawn arrives beneath a sky streaked with gray and silver. Mist clings to the mountains. The valleys below seem filled with pale rivers of cloud. Nothing moves at first. No birds sing. No wind stirs the trees. The world feels suspended between breaths. Then the horns begin. Their deep notes roll across the landscape. One call answers another. The sound travels from ridge to ridge until the entire horizon seems alive with warning. The Titanomachy has begun. You stand beside the Olympians as they look toward the distant heights where the armies of Cronus gather. The sight is overwhelming. Titan banners move in the morning air. Bronze armor flashes beneath sunlight, breaking through clouds. Columns of warriors stretch across hillsides and mountain roads. The old powers of the cosmos have come to defend their king. Across from them stand Zeus and his followers, smaller in number, less established, yet united by something the Titans no longer possess: hope. Ancient Greek audiences often understood this contrast. The older order possessed strength. The newer order possessed possibility. Neither guaranteed victory. Both carried danger. The first clash comes before midday. The mountains themselves seem to participate. Stones tumble from high slopes. Echoes bounce through narrow passes. The smell of dust fills the air. War in mythology rarely resembles ordinary warfare. These are not mortal soldiers. These are divine beings whose actions shape the world itself. When titans strike the earth, cliffs crack. When gods hurl stones, valleys tremble. You hear impacts like distant thunder. You feel vibrations beneath your feet. The landscape changes as the battle unfolds. Poseidon rushes into the struggle with fierce energy. Even before receiving the trident, he will one day wield his presence, resembles the sea. Relentless, restless, powerful. He drives forward against Titan warriors, whose names have faded from surviving stories. Demeter moves differently. She protects, supports, stabilizes. Her strength is steady rather than explosive. Where chaos spreads, she restores order. Where panic rises, she calms it. Hestia remains near the heart of the Olympian forces. The sacred fire burns beside her. Ancient listeners would have appreciated this image. Even in war, the hearth survives. Even amid conflict, something sacred must be preserved. Hades fights with cold precision. He wastes no movement, no gesture, no word. His power feels quiet compared to Poseidon's fury. Yet quiet strength can be terrifying. Many who face him realize that too late. Zeus stands at the center, not yet king, not yet master of thunder, but already becoming the figure around whom everything turns. Throughout the day, he moves where the fighting grows fiercest. His presence strengthens allies. His courage spreads confidence. Leadership reveals itself not through titles, but through action. As the sun crosses the sky, neither side gains a decisive advantage. The Titans remain formidable. Many have ruled since the dawn of the world. Their experience cannot be ignored. The Olympians fight with determination. Yet determination alone does not guarantee success. When evening arrives, both armies withdraw. Fires appear across the mountains. Hundreds of fires, perhaps thousands. Their glow scatters across the darkness like fallen stars. The first day ends without resolution. And so begins a pattern that will repeat. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Months become years. The war stretches onward. Ancient tradition often describes the Titanomachy as lasting 10 years. 10 years of struggle, 10 years of uncertainty, 10 years in which the future of the cosmos hangs unresolved. You walk through those years. The seasons change. Snow covers mountain peaks. Spring flowers return. Summer heat shimmers across rocky slopes. Autumn winds scatter leaves through abandoned valleys. Still the war continues. Neither side can secure victory. The Titans possess overwhelming strength. The Olympians possess resilience. Again and again they clash. Again and again they separate. The world grows scarred. Deep ravines appear where none existed before. Forests burn. New rivers carve unexpected paths. The land itself remembers the conflict. One night, after years of warfare, Zeus climbs a lonely ridge. The stars shine brightly overhead. The air feels cold. The sounds of distant camps drift upward through the darkness. Somewhere below, soldiers sleep. Some pray. Some stare into firelight, wondering whether the war will ever end. Zeus feels that question too. The burden of leadership grows heavier with time. Victory seemed closer in the beginning. Now it feels distant, uncertain, perhaps even impossible. He remembers the dream of the two thrones, the warning from Hera, the question from Hades. Choose not only how to win, choose what winning means. The old signs return when he needs them most. An eagle appears again, silent, watchful. It lands upon a stone nearby. Moonlight touches its feathers. For several moments, neither moves. Then the bird lifts its head toward the western horizon, toward a range of dark mountains, toward something unseen. And then it flies away. Zeus watches until it disappears among the stars. A mystery remains. Why that direction? Why now? The answer comes slowly, not through revelation, through memory. He recalls stories told by Gaia, stories whispered by Metis, stories older than Cronus himself. Deep beneath the world lie prisoners forgotten by almost everyone. The Cyclopes, the 100-handed ones, the children imprisoned first by Uranus, then left in darkness through the reign of Cronus. A realization spreads through him. The war cannot be won with existing strength. Something is missing. Someone is missing. Ancient myths often pivot upon moments like this, not moments of greater force. Moments of greater understanding. The forgotten become essential. The rejected become necessary. The imprisoned become the key. The next morning, Zeus gathers his siblings. Mist hangs low over the camp. The sacred fire crackles softly. The smell of smoke and wet earth fills the air. He tells them his decision. He must descend into the deepest places of the cosmos. He must seek those ancient prisoners. He must travel toward Tartarus itself. The reaction is immediate. Poseidon calls the plan dangerous. Demeter fears it may be a trap. Hera studies him carefully. Hades says very little. Yet something in his expression suggests agreement. Perhaps he understands darkness better than the others. Perhaps he recognizes necessity when he sees it. Metis listens silently. Then she nods, a small gesture. Yet it feels important. The wise goddess has spoken through action rather than words. The decision stands. The war has reached a turning point, not on a battlefield, not in a palace, but in a realization. To defeat the old order, Zeus must journey beneath the world, toward the prison where ancient suffering waits, toward Tartarus, toward powers forgotten by almost everyone except fate itself. You leave the lands of open sky behind. The journey downward begins where sunlight fades. Zeus travels beyond familiar mountains, beyond valleys touched by rain and wind, toward places older than memory. You follow him to the edge of the world, at least what the ancient Greeks imagined as the edge of the world. Here the air grows colder. The scent of pine disappears. Birdsong vanishes. Even the sea seems far away. Only stone remains, stone in silence. Behind Zeus walk a small company of companions. Metis accompanies him. So does Hades, whose calm nature seems strangely suited to the descent. The others remain behind, holding the fragile Olympian alliance together, while the war continues above. The path narrows. Dark cliffs rise on either side. Mist clings to the rocks like pale ghosts. Water drips steadily from unseen cracks. The sound echoes through the darkness. Ancient storytellers often describe journeys into the depths as journeys into truth. The deeper one travels, the closer one comes to hidden realities. And few places were more hidden than Tartarus. To the Greeks, Tartarus was not merely a location. It was a condition, a cosmic prison, a place so deep that myths struggled to measure it. Some ancient poets claimed that an anvil dropped from heaven would fall for 9 days before reaching the earth, then another 9 days before reaching Tartarus. Whether anyone truly believed such measurements mattered less than the feeling they created. Distance beyond comprehension, isolation beyond imagination. As Zeus descends, he begins to understand. The air feels heavy, almost alive. Every footstep seems swallowed by the darkness. The walls close around the travelers. Torchlight flickers across rough stone. Shadows stretch and twist. Sometimes they resemble faces. Sometimes they resemble hands. Perhaps it is only the movement of flame. Perhaps not. Ancient listeners would have understood the uncertainty. The deepest places of the cosmos were never entirely empty. At last they reach the gates. Immense gates, ancient gates, bronze darkened by age and smoke. Their surface bears marks no one remembers carving. The sight inspires awe and sorrow. Behind these barriers wait beings imprisoned since the age of Uranus, before Cronus, before the Titans ruled, before the prophecy itself. A warning appears, not from a dream, not from a bird, from the gates themselves. As Zeus approaches, a deep groaning sound rolls through the darkness. The metal trembles. Dust falls from above. For a moment the earth seems to protest. Metis studies the gates carefully. Every prison leaves a scar, she says softly. The words linger. They feel like more than observation. They feel like prophecy. At last the gates open. The sound echoes endlessly. You enter. The darkness beyond seems almost physical. Torchlight struggles against it. The air smells of damp stone, ancient iron, and forgotten centuries. Then you see them. The Cyclopes, Brontes, Steropes, Arges, the one-eyed giants. Their forms emerge slowly from the shadows. They are enormous. Yet it is not their size that commands attention. It is their eyes. Each possesses a single eye bright with intelligence and memory. Not madness, not savagery, memory. They have endured ages of imprisonment, and they have not forgotten. The silence between them and Zeus stretches for several heartbeats. Then Brontes speaks. His voice sounds like distant thunder inside a mountain. Why have you come? The question carries no welcome, only caution. Zeus answers honestly. He speaks of Kronos, the war, the prophecy, the need for allies. The Cyclopes listen. Their expressions reveal little. Ancient suffering rarely trusts quickly. The Greeks understood this. Wounds lasting generations do not disappear because someone offers freedom. Trust must be earned. At last Steropes asks another question. Why should we help the son of Kronos? The challenge strikes deeply. Zeus expected suspicion. Yet hearing it spoken aloud forces him to confront an uncomfortable truth. His father imprisoned his siblings. His grandfather imprisoned the Cyclopes. The cycle of power has left pain everywhere. For a moment he remembers Hera's warning. Do not become Kronos in the name of defeating him. The memory guides his answer. I cannot change what was done, Zeus says, but I can choose what comes next. The darkness grows quiet. No one speaks. Then slowly Arges nods. A small gesture, yet something shifts. Ancient myths often pivot on such moments. Not victories, not battles. Choices. The Cyclopes accept freedom. The chains are broken. The prison opens, and for the first time in ages, the one-eyed giants walk beneath a sky. The moment feels sacred. The air itself seems lighter. Yet Zeus's task is not finished. Deeper still lie the hundred-handed ones. The journey continues. Far below the chambers of the Cyclopes, another darkness waits. A greater darkness, a deeper prison. The smell of sulfur grows stronger. Heat rises through cracks in the earth. The walls glow faintly red in places. The travelers descend carefully. At times, distant rumbling echoes through the stone. Perhaps volcanic fire, perhaps something older. At last they arrive. The hundred-handed ones remain exactly as the myths describe. Cottus, Briareus, Gyges, immense beyond measure, 100 arms, 50 heads, strength enough to shake mountains. Yet what strikes you most is not their power, it is their sadness. Ages of imprisonment have left their mark. Even giants can grow weary. Even divine beings can suffer. When Zeus offers freedom, they do not answer immediately. Briareus studies him. The giant's many eyes reflect torchlight. Then he speaks. What makes you different from those before you? The question echoes through the cavern. It is the question at the heart of the entire myth. What makes one ruler different from another? Power alone cannot answer. Zeus understands this now, more than he did years ago, more than he did when he first left Crete. He answers carefully. I do not know if I am different. The giants remain silent. I only know that the world cannot remain as it is. Something changes then. Perhaps honesty succeeds where certainty would fail. Perhaps fate has finally reached this forgotten place. Or perhaps the prisoners simply recognize sincerity. Whatever the reason, the hundred-handed ones accept. The deepest prison in creation begins to empty. Ancient suffering rises toward the light. Ancient strength returns to the world. Yet one final gift remains. The Cyclopes lead Zeus to a forge hidden within the depths. A forge unlike anything above. Its fires burn with strange colors. Blue, white, gold. The heat fills the vast cavern. Molten metal glows like captured sunlight. The sound of hammers echoes through the darkness. The Greeks often viewed craftsmen as sacred figures, creators, transformers, those who shape possibility into reality. Now the greatest craftsmen of myth begin their work. For Zeus, they forge the Thunderbolt, not merely a weapon, a symbol, a force, the concentrated power of storm itself. When the final strike falls upon the metal, lightning flashes across the forge. Every shadow leaps, every eye turns. The weapon lives. For Poseidon, they prepare the trident. For Hades, a helm of darkness. But those gifts belong to another chapter. For now, Zeus stands before the newly forged Thunderbolt. Its light dances across the cavern walls. Its power hums through the air. And for the first time, the hidden child of Crete feels the storm answer completely. The war for the cosmos is about to change. The forge burns deep beneath the roots of the world. Its fires cast shifting light across walls blackened by ancient ages. The newly freed Cyclopes stand beside their work. The thunderbolt glows in Zeus's hands, not brightly, not constantly. Instead, it pulses, like a living heartbeat, like a storm waiting beyond distant mountains. You can feel its presence in the air. The scent of heated metal mingles with sulfur and stone. Tiny sparks drift upward through the darkness. Around the forge, shadows dance and stretch. For a long moment, no one speaks. The significance of what has happened settles slowly. The war that seemed impossible only days ago now feels different. Not one, not even close, but different. Ancient myths often place great importance on gifts. A gift changes relationships. A gift creates obligations. A gift alters destiny. The Cyclopes have given more than weapons. They have given trust. Trust earned through liberation. Trust earned through choice. Zeus understands this. He thanks them not as servants, but as allies. The distinction matters. Far above, armies continue fighting. Titans and Olympians clash across mountains and valleys. Yet the true turning point of the war has occurred here, in darkness, in memory, in the release of those forgotten by history. The 100-handed ones prepare to leave Tartarus. The sight is extraordinary. Briareus rises first, then Cottus, then Gyges. Their immense forms move slowly through passages that once confined them. Each step sends tremors through the earth. Dust falls from cavern ceilings. Loose stones tumble from walls. Ancient power is waking. As the company begins its ascent, a strange omen appears. The torch flames suddenly bend in the same direction, not toward wind. There is no wind, not toward movement. The travelers stand still. Every flame points upward, toward the world above, toward the battlefield. Metis watches carefully. The wise goddess says nothing at first. Then she speaks softly. Even fire remembers where it belongs. No one explains the sign. No one needs to. The meaning feels clear enough. The forgotten powers of the cosmos are returning to their place in destiny. The journey upward takes time. As they climb, Zeus reflects upon everything that has led him here. The cave on Crete, the bronze shields, the eagle, the warning of Hera, the question from Hades, the curse of Cronus. Each memory feels connected. Ancient Greek myths often work this way. Events that seem separate eventually reveal hidden patterns. Nothing exists alone. Every choice echoes through the story. Every prophecy leaves traces. Above them, meanwhile, the war grows harsher. The Titans press their advantage. Years of experience strengthen their tactics. Their armies know the terrain. Their leaders command immense respect. The Olympians fight bravely, but they struggle. One ridge falls, then another. Supply routes become dangerous. Morale weakens. At times, even Poseidon begins to doubt. The sea-hearted god rarely admits fear, yet uncertainty has entered the camp. Demeter notices it too. The sacred fire tended by Hestia burns steadily. Still whispers move among the followers. Can Cronus truly be defeated? Has the prophecy been misunderstood? Ancient audiences would have appreciated this tension. A victory that appears certain carries little meaning. A victory that seems impossible becomes memorable. One night, while the Olympians gather around their campfires, the sky changes. Clouds disappear. The stars shine with unusual brilliance. Then a deep sound rolls across the heavens. Not thunder. Not exactly. Something older. Something vast. The sound seems to emerge from the world itself. Everyone hears it. No one understands it. The mystery spreads quickly. Some believe it is Gaia speaking. Others think it signals the approach of forgotten allies. Another interpretation survives in later traditions. Perhaps the earth was simply responding to the movement of the 100-handed ones below. No certainty emerges. Only anticipation. The next morning, the answer arrives. The earth trembles. At first, the shaking feels distant, then stronger. Mountains vibrate beneath the feet of gods and titans alike. Loose stones leap from the ground. Birds explode from forests in frightened clouds. Across the battlefield, warriors stop and stare. The tremors continue. A crack opens along a hillside, then another. Dust rises into the air, and from the mountains emerge the 100-handed ones. The sight overwhelms imagination. Even the titans hesitate. Briareus strides forward. His 100 arms move like a forest in motion. Cottus follows. Then Gyges. The landscape itself seems too small to contain them. For a moment the war pauses. Both sides witness the return of powers forgotten since the earliest age. Ancient suffering has become ancient strength. Gaia's first imprisoned children walk beneath the sun once more. A memory returns to Zeus. The prophecy spoken long ago, the suffering buried beneath the earth. The lesson becomes clear. What is rejected does not disappear. What is buried may return. The Greeks often found deep meaning in this idea. Injustice creates consequences. Pain remembers. The 100-handed ones do not waste time. They enter the battle immediately. With astonishing speed, they begin hurling vast stones. Not one, not 10, hundreds. Their countless arms move faster than thought. The sky fills with boulders. Mountains seem to break apart and take flight. The impact shakes the world. Titan ranks scatter. Defensive positions collapse. For the first time in 10 years, the old order falters visibly. Kronos watches from a distant ridge. The sight chills him. He recognizes these beings. His father feared them. Gaia suffered because of them. And now they stand beside Zeus. The realization strikes like a wound. Every generation has repeated the same mistake. The powerful feared the different. The powerful chose imprisonment. Now the imprisoned have returned. A warning from the past has become a weapon in the present. The battle rages through the day. Thunderclouds gather overhead. The air grows electric. Zeus feels the thunderbolt respond in his grasp. The gift of the Cyclopes vibrates softly. The storm is ready. Not yet, but soon. Very soon. As evening approaches, the battlefield belongs to neither side completely. Yet something has changed. The balance has shifted. The Titans know it. The Olympians know it. Even the mountains seem to know it. Far above, an eagle circles through the darkening sky. Its silhouette crosses the first stars of evening. Zeus watches it briefly. Then he looks toward the distant figure of Kronos, father and son, king and challenger, prophecy and fear. The final confrontation draws near, and somewhere beyond the clouds, thunder begins to answer thunder. The storm gathers through the night. Clouds roll over the mountains in dark, silent waves. The stars disappear one by one. Only the sacred fires remain visible below, scattered across ridges like small mortal hopes. You stand with Zeus before dawn. The thunderbolt rests in his hand. Its light flickers softly against his face. He looks older now, not in years, in burden. Every choice has brought him here. The cave on Crete, the council of Metis, the bitter cup, the freed siblings, the descent into Tartarus, the Cyclopes and their forge, the 100-handed ones rising from darkness. All of it gathers behind him like a long road through mist. Yet the final step remains. Kronos still stands. The old king waits across the broken battlefield, surrounded by the last strength of the Titans. He has lost certainty, but not power. He has lost control, but not pride. Ancient storytellers understood that fallen rulers rarely surrender easily. They cling hardest when the end draws near. Before sunrise, an omen appears. Rain begins to fall upward, only for a few breaths. Tiny drops lift from stones and leaves shining in the dim light. Then they fall normally again. No one speaks. Some later traditions would call it a sign that the world itself had turned upside down. Others might say it was only the strange air before a divine storm. But everyone feels the meaning. The order of things is changing. Zeus walks toward the center of the field. Hera watches him from the ridge. Her warning still lives between them. Do not become Kronos. Hades stands in shadow near a broken stone wall. Poseidon grips his weaponless hands, restless as a sea before impact. Demeter touches the earth, as though asking it to endure one more day. Hestia tends the flame. Even here, especially here, across the field, Kronos approaches. For the first time, father and son face one another without disguise. No palace walls, no hidden cup, no servants moving between them. Only sky-earth and the memory of prophecy. Kronos speaks first. His voice carries across the battlefield. He calls Zeus ungrateful, a child of deception, a thief of order. Zeus answers quietly. He says Kronos mistook fear for wisdom. He mistook possession for protection. He mistook swallowing the future for defeating it. The words strike harder than anger, because they are true. Kronos raises his ancient weapon, the sickle of adamant, the same curved blade that once separated sky from earth. Moonlight seems trapped along its edge, though dawn is near. A memory from the beginning of the myth returns. Every weapon carries its first story. This blade began one age. Now it stands at the ending of another. The battle begins. Cronus moves with terrifying skill. He is no weak old king. He is a titan. He has ruled since the first ages of the world. His strikes cut through air with cold brilliance. Each movement carries history. Zeus avoids the first blow, then another. The ground splits where the sickle strikes. Stone bursts apart. Dust fills the air. The scent of rain and broken earth rises around them. Zeus lifts the Thunderbolt. For a moment he hesitates, not from fear, from understanding. To strike his father is to enter the same pattern that shaped Cronus. Son against father, power against power. The curse of Uranus waits nearby, almost visible. Cronus sees the hesitation and attacks. The sickle flashes. Zeus is thrown backward against stone. Pain burns through him. The Thunderbolt nearly slips from his hand. Above, the storm breaks. Thunder rolls across the heavens. The sound is vast. The 100-handed ones roar from the ridges. Poseidon surges forward, but Hades stops him. This confrontation must finish itself. Zeus rises slowly. Rain falls around him. His face is calm now. Not gentle. Not cruel. Calm. He remembers the question from Hades. What happens after victory? He remembers his own answer, still incomplete. Then he understands one part of it. Victory must not be revenge alone. It must become order. That thought steadies him. Cronus charges again. Zeus raises the Thunderbolt. Lightning erupts. The world turns white. For one breath there is no mountain, no army, no sky. Only light. Then sound returns. A thunderclap shakes the cosmos. Cronus falls. The sickle slips from his hand and strikes the ground. Its edge sinks into mud. The old weapon lies still. The titans around him falter. Some continue fighting. Some drop their weapons. Some stare as though they cannot understand what they have seen. Cronus tries to rise. He cannot. For the first time, the king of the Titans looks not eternal, but wounded. Zeus approaches. The Thunderbolt glows in his hand. A question hangs over the field. Will he destroy Cronus? Ancient traditions differ about the fate of the defeated Titans. Some say Cronus was imprisoned in Tartarus. Others imagine him later ruling a blessed realm far away. Still others preserve more complicated memories. Greek myth often refuses one simple ending. But here in this moment, Zeus chooses restraint. Cronus will fall. He will lose the throne. He will be bound away from power. But Zeus will not become only a mirror of his father's terror. The choice does not erase violence. It does not remove sorrow. Yet it matters. The 100-handed ones help bind the defeated Titans. The earth trembles beneath their steps. Chains forged in deep places are brought forth. Cronus is taken from the battlefield beneath a sky still rumbling with storm. As he passes Zeus, he speaks one final warning. Every throne hears footsteps behind it. The words are soft. Only Zeus hears them clearly. A curse, a prophecy, or simply bitter truth. No one can say. But Zeus does not forget. The battle slowly ends. The storm weakens. Rain washes blood and dust from the stones. Clouds begin to open above the mountains. A pale shaft of sunlight touches the battlefield. Hestia's sacred flame still burns. Small, steady, impossible. The Olympians gather in silence. No one cheers at first. Victory has come, but it does not feel simple. The world has been saved from Cronus, yet the world has also been broken by war. Ancient Greeks understood this melancholy. Even necessary victories carry grief. Even just wars leave ashes. Zeus looks across the scarred mountains. He has won the throne, but he has not yet learned how to rule it. That harder task waits ahead. The war for the cosmos has ended. The work of shaping the cosmos has only begun. The morning after victory arrives quietly. No thunder shakes the mountains. No armies march across the ridges. No horns sound through the valleys. For the first time in 10 years, the world is still. You stand upon a high slope overlooking the battlefield. Mist drifts slowly between broken cliffs. Rainwater gathers in shallow pools among shattered stones. The air smells of wet earth smoke and pine. The storm has passed. Yet everywhere you look, its memory remains. The mountains bear wounds. Entire hillsides have collapsed. Ancient forests lie scattered across ravines. Streams follow new paths through fractured ground. The Titanomachy is over, but the land itself will remember. Ancient Greeks often saw landscapes as living records of myth, a strange rock formation, a deep cave, a scarred mountain. Such places were not merely geography. They were memory made visible. and now the whole world seems marked by remembrance. Zeus walks alone for a time. No guards accompany him. No attendants follow. The Thunderbolt rests at his side. The weapon that ended the war feels strangely heavy now. Victory often appears glorious from a distance. Up close, it carries quieter emotions. Relief, exhaustion, uncertainty. The young ruler finds himself thinking about Cronus, not with affection, not with hatred, with understanding. That realization surprises him. For years he imagined his father only as an enemy. Yet standing among the ruins of war, he sees something more troubling. Cronus once believed he was protecting his throne. Fear consumed him. Fear guided every decision. Fear turned a father into a jailer. Zeus wonders how many rulers begin with noble intentions and end the same way. The thought stays with him, a warning more useful than any prophecy. Far below, workers and divine allies move across the battlefield. The wounded are gathered. Fires are extinguished. Collapsed paths are cleared. The labor of rebuilding begins. Ancient storytellers rarely linger long on such moments. Yet they mattered deeply to Greek audiences. Order required maintenance. Victory required stewardship. Even gods could not simply walk away. Near midday, Zeus joins his siblings beside a spring that survived the war untouched. Clear water flows over smooth stones. Wildflowers bloom nearby despite everything that has happened. The sight feels almost miraculous. Hestia kneels beside the water first. She fills a small bowl and pours it upon the earth as an offering. A gesture of gratitude. A gesture of peace. No speech accompanies it. None is needed. Demeter watches the valley beyond. New growth will eventually return. Seeds hidden beneath damaged soil will rise again. Life possesses remarkable patience. She takes comfort in that. Poseidon remains restless. War has ended. His energy has nowhere to go. The sea still calls to him. The horizon still promises movement. For perhaps the first time he begins wondering what his role will be in the new order. The question unsettles him. Hades sits apart beneath a dark cypress tree. His expression reveals little, yet he seems less distant than before. The years of conflict forged bonds that did not exist when the siblings first met. Not affection alone. Trust. Trust earned slowly. Trust earned through hardship. Hera studies Zeus quietly. The queen-to-be sees something others miss. Victory has changed him. Not dramatically, not suddenly, but unmistakably. The hidden child of Crete is gone. The commander of the Olympians remains. The question now is what kind of king will emerge. As evening approaches, an unusual sign appears. A flock of white birds crosses the sky from east to west. No one recognizes the species immediately. Their formation remains perfect. Their wings catch the setting sunlight until they appear golden. The birds vanish beyond distant hills. The mystery lingers. Ancient Greeks often interpreted birds as messages from the divine. Yet not every sign came with an explanation. Some remained open, inviting reflection rather than certainty. That night Zeus dreams. The dream feels different from earlier visions. Less urgent, less threatening. He stands once more between the two thrones he saw long ago. The throne of black stone, the throne of white cloud. This time neither appears empty. Instead, both slowly dissolve. In their place rises something new. A mountain, high, bright, crowned with sunlight. Voices drift upon the wind. Many voices, not one ruler, not one throne. A community, a kingdom, a future. When Zeus awakens, dawn is just beginning. The dream leaves no clear instructions, only an impression. Rule cannot rest entirely upon domination. The old order tried that. The old order failed. Another path must be found. Historians continue to debate how early Greek traditions imagined the formation of Olympus. Different regions preserved different details. Some emphasized kingship, others emphasized divine assembly. Yet a common theme appears repeatedly. The Olympian order succeeds because power becomes shared, not equal, but shared. The lesson begins taking shape here, in the silence after war. Several days later, the defeated Titans are brought toward Tartarus. Not all of them. Some remain neutral. Some supported Zeus. The ancient stories vary. But the chief supporters of Cronus face imprisonment. As they pass, many refuse to lower their heads. Their pride survives defeat. Atlas among them appears particularly formidable. His fate has not yet fully unfolded, but destiny already circles him. Prometheus walks separately, thoughtful, observant. His path will soon diverge from many of his Titan kin. Another mystery waits there. Another challenge for Zeus. As the procession disappears into the distance, the world grows quieter still. The age of the Titans is ending. The age of Olympus has not yet begun. For a brief moment, creation stands between eras, balanced, uncertain, listening. The Greeks often treasured such thresholds, moments when the future remains unwritten, moments when possibility feels larger than certainty. Zeus stands beneath the evening sky. Stars appear one by one above the mountains, the same stars that watched Gaia, the same stars that watched Cronus, the same stars that watched the hidden cave on Crete. Much has changed beneath them, yet the heavens remain, a reminder that even the greatest struggles become memory. Soon the cosmos must be divided. The seas must find a ruler. The underworld must receive a guardian. The heavens must choose their king. The war decided who would govern. The next choice will determine how. The world stands at a threshold. The war is over. The storms have quieted. The wounded mountains begin their long process of healing. Yet one question remains unanswered. Who will rule what remains? You walk with the Olympians toward a high plateau where sky and earth seem almost to touch. The air is cool. A steady wind moves across the grass. Far below, rivers shine in the sunlight like threads of silver. The sea glimmers at the edge of the world. Above everything stretches the immense vault of heaven. The cosmos awaits its new order. Ancient Greek audiences understood the importance of this moment. Victory alone cannot create stability. Power must be organized. Responsibilities must be assigned. Without structure, triumph becomes another form of chaos. Zeus knows this. So do his brothers. Poseidon and Hades walk beside him. The three sons of Cronus have survived prophecy, imprisonment, and war. Now they face a quieter challenge. How should the universe be shared? No armies surround them. No weapons are drawn. Yet tension remains. Not hostile tension, human tension, or perhaps divine tension. The kind that appears whenever something precious must be divided. The sea wind strengthens. Poseidon gazes toward the distant waters. Even now his attention drifts there. The ocean seems to call him constantly. The waves promise movement, mystery, freedom. Hades looks elsewhere, toward shadows beneath cliffs, toward caves opening into darkness, toward places hidden from ordinary sight. His interests have always moved inward rather than outward. Zeus watches the sky. Clouds drift across endless blue. Eagles circle on rising currents. The heavens feel familiar to him, almost personal, yet no decision has been made. Not yet. Several traditions describe what happens next. The most famous survives through ancient poetry and temple memory. The three brothers choose not to fight over power. Instead, they cast lots. A simple act. A profound act. Chance will decide. Or perhaps fate disguised as chance. The distinction remains uncertain. Ancient Greeks often blurred the line between the two. A sacred vessel is brought forward. Inside rest the lots. The atmosphere grows still. Even the wind seems quieter. Hera watches from nearby. Demeter stands beside Hestia. Metis remains silent. No advice comes now. The time for counsel has passed. The time for acceptance has arrived. Zeus reaches into the vessel. So does Poseidon. So does Hades. For a few moments, no one moves. The future rests inside closed hands. Then the lots are revealed. Poseidon receives the sea. The result surprises no one. Perhaps because it feels right. Perhaps because destiny has been guiding him there all along. The ocean's rivers, storms, and distant horizons belong to him now. You can almost feel his satisfaction. Not triumph. Belonging. The sea has found its ruler. Hades receives the underworld. The realm beneath the earth. The kingdom of the dead. Many later readers misunderstand this moment. They imagine punishment, exile, misfortune. The ancient Greeks often saw it differently. The underworld was not evil. It was necessary. Every life eventually traveled there. Someone had to govern it. Someone had to maintain balance between the living and the dead. Hades accepts his lot calmly, perhaps more calmly than anyone expected. He does not complain. He does not bargain. The shadows have always understood him, and he has always understood them. That leaves Zeus. The heavens become his. The sky, the clouds, the storms, the high places above the world. The lot seems inevitable in hindsight. Yet standing here, you remember that nothing felt inevitable during the war. The outcome only appears obvious after it happens. Ancient myths often work this way. Success rewrites uncertainty into destiny. The division continues. The earth itself remains shared. This detail mattered greatly. No single god owns the world beneath mortal feet. The mountains, the forests, the valleys, the sacred groves, all remain common ground. A reminder that some things exist beyond possession. Ancient Greek listeners would have appreciated the symbolism. Even among gods, limits exist. As the decisions settle into place, a strange omen appears. Clouds gather suddenly above the plateau. Not dark storm clouds. Bright clouds, white and luminous. Sunlight pours through them in golden shafts. For a few moments, the heavens resemble a vast temple ceiling. The sight leaves everyone silent. Another interpretation survives in some traditions. Perhaps it was merely weather. Perhaps later storytellers transformed an ordinary afternoon into a divine sign. No certainty exists, yet the image remains powerful. The heavens seem to acknowledge their new king. The days that follow bring transformation. Poseidon journeys toward the seas. Every coastline welcomes him. Waves crash against cliffs with renewed energy. Seabirds wheel overhead. Salt wind fills the air. The oceans feel alive. Some researchers believe Poseidon preserves memories of older sea deities worshipped long before classical Greece. Whether true or not, he seems perfectly suited to his domain. Hades descends toward his kingdom. His path leads through caverns and hidden roads beneath the earth. Torchlight reflects upon underground rivers. Strange flowers bloom in shadowed fields. The underworld begins taking shape around him, not as a prison, as a realm, a kingdom, a responsibility. Zeus remains above. The sky becomes his court. Thunderclouds gather around mountain peaks. Rain nourishes distant lands. Lightning flashes across dark horizons. The storm no longer feels random. It feels governed, directed, purposeful. The Greeks often saw Zeus in every thunderstorm, not because they lacked scientific explanations, but because storms embodied authority, power from above, order imposed upon uncertainty. Yet even as the cosmos settles into balance, questions remain. What kind of king will Zeus become? Can anyone hold such power without repeating old mistakes? The warning of Hera returns. Do not become Kronos. The curse of Kronos returns. Every throne hears footsteps behind it. The dream of the two thrones returns. Choose what winning means. These memories remain alive. Victories fade. Lessons endure. One evening, Zeus stands upon a high mountain ridge. Below him stretches the world. Sea, forest, valley, river. Everything touched by the new order. The air smells of rain carried from distant storms. The first stars appear overhead. For a moment he feels something unexpected. Not triumph. Responsibility. The heavens belong to him now. But ownership and wisdom are not the same thing. The true test of kingship has only begun. Far beyond the horizon, marble halls not yet built wait upon the highest mountain in the world. Olympus calls, and soon the gods will gather there to create something the cosmos has never seen before. A kingdom of immortals, a home among the clouds, a new age beneath the stars. The mountain rises above all others. Its summit disappears into clouds. Its slopes catch the first light of dawn long before the valleys below awaken. You approach it beside the gods. Olympus, the mountain that will become the center of the divine world. Even today, the real mountain stands in northern Greece. Its highest peaks, often hidden by mist and weather. Ancient travelers looked upon it with awe. The summit seemed unreachable. A place suspended between earth and heaven. A place where gods might truly live. Now in the age of myth, Olympus is still quiet. No palace crowns its heights. No golden halls shine beneath the sun. Only stone, cloud, wind, and possibility. The air feels thinner here, cooler. Every breath carries the scent of mountain herbs and distant rain. Eagles drift through the currents below. The world stretches outward in every direction. Sea and land seem woven together beneath the vast sky. Zeus stands upon the summit and looks across his new realm. For a moment, no one speaks. The silence feels sacred, not empty, expectant. Ancient Greeks often believed that sacred places possessed a presence difficult to describe, a feeling, a stillness, a sense that the ordinary world had been left behind. Olympus carries that atmosphere. The mountain feels ready, ready to receive the future. The Olympians begin building their kingdom, not with hammers and mortal labor alone. Divine will shapes much of what appears, yet ancient imagination still fills the process with beautiful details. You see terraces emerging along the slopes, wide pathways winding between shining columns, gardens blooming where no seeds were planted, sacred springs flowing from rock clear as crystal. The mountain transforms gradually, like a vision becoming real. At the highest point rises the great hall. Its columns gleam white beneath sunlight. Its roof reflects the changing colors of the sky. At dawn it glows rose gold. At noon it shines brilliant silver. At sunset it catches crimson fire. The Greeks later imagined Olympus as a place where weather never truly harmed the gods. Clouds drifted below the halls. Storms passed beneath the feet of immortals. Above remained calm radiance, a symbol of divine order beyond mortal uncertainty. The first gathering inside the new hall feels unlike any council before it. No war plans cover the tables. No scouts bring reports from battlefields. The smell of smoke and blood has been replaced by olive oil, fresh bread, honey, and wine. Music echoes through the chamber. Laughter returns cautiously. The gods are learning how to live in peace. That process proves more complicated than expected. Victory united them. Peace reveals differences. Poseidon visits Olympus often, but never stays long. The sea calls him constantly. When conversations grow too slow, he drifts toward the coast. Storms and waves remain closer to his nature than palace ceremonies. Demeter spends much of her time among valleys and fields. She watches seeds grow. She studies the changing seasons. Her attention remains fixed upon life itself. Hestia becomes the quiet heart of Olympus. The sacred flame burns under her care. Steady, unchanging. A reminder that every home, even a divine one, requires warmth more than grandeur. Hades rarely visits. His kingdom below demands attention. The dead arrive endlessly. The work never truly stops. His absence creates a certain mystery around him. Already stories begin gathering in the shadows. Already misunderstandings begin to grow. Hera remains closest to Zeus. Yet closeness does not mean simplicity. Ancient Greek myths never portray their relationship as easy. Too much power stands between them. Too much pride. Too much intelligence. They admire one another. They challenge one another. Sometimes they frustrate one another deeply. The foundation of their future marriage is already taking shape. One evening, while the gods celebrate the completion of a new courtyard, an omen appears. A cloud drifts directly through the center of the hall, not around it. Through it, the vapor moves silently between the columns. For a moment, shapes seem visible within the mist. Faces, figures, memories. Then the cloud dissolves. The vision vanishes. The gathering falls silent. Some interpret it as a blessing, others as a warning. Perhaps Olympus has been built. But nothing remains permanent. Even kingdoms among the clouds must remember humility. The uncertainty lingers. Historians continue to debate how much symbolism ancient audiences attach to such stories. Yet one theme appears repeatedly. The Greeks admired greatness. They also feared arrogance. Every triumph carried risk. Every success invited temptation. Zeus feels that temptation more than anyone. The new king sits upon the highest throne. The sky obeys him. Storms answer his will. The cosmos recognizes his authority. Such power can be intoxicating. Metis notices this. The wise goddess always notices. One night, she walks with Zeus along a marbled terrace overlooking the world. Moonlight bathes the mountain in silver. The air feels cool and clean. Far below, tiny fires mark distant human settlements beginning to appear across the landscape. The mortal world is growing, quietly, almost unnoticed. Metis speaks softly. A throne teaches as much as it tests. Zeus studies the stars. The words remind him of earlier warnings. The curse of Cronus, the dream of the two thrones, the question of Hades, the caution from Hera. The lessons continue returning, as though fate wishes to ensure he does not forget. Perhaps kingship itself is a series of reminders. Another mystery emerges during these peaceful years. Prometheus, the titan who survived the war, the thinker, the observer, the one who sees farther than most. He visits Olympus occasionally, never threatening, never fully comfortable. His loyalty remains uncertain. His intentions remain unclear. Yet Zeus allows him to come and go freely, a choice that will shape the future. Ancient myths often introduce great changes quietly, long before anyone recognizes their significance. Prometheus carries one such change within him. For now, however, Olympus flourishes. The halls fill with music. The gardens bloom. The sacred flame burns. The heavens remain orderly. The wounds of war slowly heal. From the highest mountain in the world, Zeus watches clouds drift beneath his feet. The kingdom has been built. The throne has been claimed. Yet another challenge approaches. Not from titans, not from monsters, from relationships, from marriage. from the complicated heart of power itself. And beside Zeus stands the one person willing to question him, even when the entire cosmos bows. Her name is Hera, and the next chapter of Olympus begins with her. The halls of Olympus shine beneath morning light. Clouds drift below the terraces. The sacred flame burns steadily in the central chamber. From a distance, the kingdom appears complete. The war has ended. The cosmos has been divided. The gods possess a home. Peace seems secure, yet ancient Greek myths rarely remain still for long. Conflict changes shape. Instead of battlefields, it enters relationships. Instead of armies, it speaks through pride, love, ambition, and misunderstanding. You find yourself walking beside Hera through the gardens of Olympus. The air smells of roses, laurel leaves, and fresh rain. Marble pathways wind between flowering trees. Small fountains scatter silver droplets into the sunlight. Everything appears tranquil. But Hera's thoughts are never idle. She watches, observes, measures. The queen-to-be understands something important. Victory is easier than governance. Many rulers learn how to conquer. Far fewer learn how to endure. Ancient Greek audiences often appreciated Hera more deeply than modern retellings suggest. She was not merely the wife of Zeus. She represented sovereignty itself, marriage, legitimacy, the sacred bonds that held society together. Without Hera, kingship remained incomplete. Without Hera, power lacked stability. Zeus understands this, though perhaps not fully. He admires Hera's intelligence, her strength, her ability to see weaknesses hidden beneath confidence. Yet admiration and understanding are not always the same thing. One afternoon, the gods gather within the great hall. Sunlight pours through open colonnades. The scent of olive oil and cedar drifts through the air. Music echoes softly in the distance. The atmosphere feels festive. A celebration is underway. Olympus has survived its first years. The kingdom appears strong. During the gathering, an eagle lands upon the highest column. The bird remains perfectly still. Its golden eyes scan the hall. Several gods notice immediately. The eagle has appeared before, on Crete, in dreams. Before great decisions, the recurring sign does not go unnoticed. The bird spreads its wings once, then settles again, waiting, watching. Ancient Greeks often viewed repeated omens as especially significant. A single sign might be coincidence. A sign that returns again and again demands attention. Yet the meaning remains uncertain. The mystery lingers over the celebration like distant thunder. Later that evening, Zeus and Hera walk alone along the western edge of Olympus. The sun sinks toward the horizon. The sea far below glitters with red and gold light. The air grows cooler. For a while they simply enjoy the silence. Then Hera asks a question, a simple question. What kind of king do you wish to become? Zeus does not answer immediately. The question feels larger than it appears. He thinks of Cronus, of fear, of prophecy, of the war, of the throne that now belongs to him. At last he replies, "A better one than my father." Hera smiles faintly. Not because the answer is wrong, because it is incomplete. The distinction matters. Many people define themselves by what they oppose. Far fewer define themselves by what they hope to create. The conversation remains with Zeus long after the evening ends. Ancient myths often use dialogue this way. A few words become a turning point, not because they solve anything, because they reveal deeper questions. As the months pass, Hera's influence upon Olympus grows. Disputes are settled more efficiently. Ceremonies gain structure. The rhythms of divine life become clearer. Even Zeus begins consulting her more often, not out of obligation, out of respect. Their partnership strengthens the kingdom, yet tension occasionally appears. Two powerful minds rarely agree on everything. And the Greeks understood that harmony without disagreement is not true harmony. One night a dream comes to Hera. Dreams continue playing an important role throughout the myth. They are bridges between uncertainty and insight. In her dream, she stands within the great hall of Olympus. The throne of Zeus rises before her, but the throne is empty. Above it hangs a crown made of storm clouds. The crown slowly dissolves into rain. Then the rain becomes countless human faces. The faces look upward, waiting, expecting, judging. Hera awakens before dawn. The dream troubles her, not because it predicts disaster, because it reminds her of responsibility. Kingship does not belong only to kings. Every decision reaches countless lives. Ancient listeners would have understood the symbolism. Power exists for those beneath it, not only for those who possess it. The next morning, Hera shares the dream with Zeus. He listens carefully. The image stays with him. A crown of storms, a throne watched by countless faces. Another reminder, another warning. The lessons never seem to stop. Far away, meanwhile, the mortal world continues growing. Small villages appear along rivers. Fishermen launch boats into coastal waters. Farmers cultivate fertile valleys. The age of humanity slowly approaches. The gods watch with interest, some with affection, some with curiosity. Prometheus watches most closely of all. The Titan visits Olympus again during this period. He walks through the halls without fear. He speaks respectfully. Yet there is always something thoughtful in his gaze, something distant, as though he sees possibilities others overlook. Some researchers believe Prometheus preserves traces of older cultural traditions, emphasizing intelligence over raw force. Whether true or not, he stands apart, neither enemy nor servant, neither fully Titan nor fully Olympian. A bridge between worlds. Zeus welcomes him. For now. One evening, while the sky glows with approaching sunset, Prometheus pauses beside the sacred flame tended by Hestia. The fire crackles softly. Its warmth fills the hall. For a long moment he simply watches. Then he smiles. A small smile. Thoughtful, almost secretive. No one pays much attention. The moment passes quickly. Yet ancient myths often hide important events inside ordinary scenes. Seeds are planted long before they bloom. The years of peace continue. Olympus prospers. The marriage of Zeus and Hera strengthens. The kingdom appears secure. Yet beneath the calm surface, new questions are beginning to form. What place do mortals hold in this ordered cosmos? How much power should gods possess over human lives? What responsibilities accompany divine authority? Prometheus has begun asking such questions. Soon he will act upon them. And when he does, the relationship between gods and humanity will change forever. For now, however, the evening settles gently over Olympus. The eagle circles once above the shining halls. The sacred flame glows warmly. And beside the King of Heaven stands the queen whose wisdom continues shaping the future of the gods. The years of peace settle gently across the world. Olympus stands complete above the clouds. Its marble halls gleam beneath sunlight. Its terraces overlook seas, forests, mountains, and valleys stretching toward every horizon. From the summit, the kingdom of the gods appears eternal. Yet nothing in Greek mythology remains unchanged forever. Even peace contains the seeds of future stories. You find Prometheus walking alone along one of Olympus's highest paths. The morning air feels cool. Cloud shadows drift across distant slopes. An eagle circles far overhead. The Titan moves slowly, his hands clasped behind his back. He watches everything. The gardens, the temples, the conversations among the gods, the growing settlements of mortals far below. Prometheus has always been different. Even during the war, he seemed less interested in victory than in consequence, less interested in power than in purpose. Ancient Greeks remembered him not primarily for strength, but for foresight. His very name suggested the ability to think ahead, to see what others overlooked. That gift is both blessing and burden. The wise often recognize problems long before anyone else, and they often stand alone because of it. Prometheus pauses beside a marble overlook. The sea glitters far below. Tiny villages dot the landscape. Smoke rises from cooking fires. Farmers move through fields. Fishing boats drift along coastlines. Humanity remains young, fragile, small compared to the vast powers governing the cosmos. Yet Prometheus cannot stop watching them. Something about mortals fascinates him. Perhaps it is their vulnerability. Perhaps it is their determination. Perhaps it is simply that their lives possess limits. The gods are immortal. Humans are not. That difference shapes everything. Ancient Greek audiences often reflected deeply on mortality. The knowledge that life ends gives meaning to many choices. Mortals understand urgency in ways immortals rarely can. Prometheus sees this clearly. One afternoon, he visits a settlement near the foothills below Olympus. The air smells of wood smoke and fresh bread. Children play beside a stream. Farmers repair fences damaged by winter weather. Women carry water from a spring. The scene feels ordinary. Yet Prometheus watches with remarkable attention. Humans struggle constantly. Cold winters threaten them. Dark nights limit them. Wild animals remain dangerous. Storms destroy crops. Disease appears without warning. Every season presents new challenges. Still they persist. Still they build. Still they hope. The sight moves him. Ancient storytellers often emphasized compassion as one of Prometheus's defining traits. Unlike many divine beings, he spends time considering how life appears from below, how existence feels to those without immortality. That perspective changes him. Meanwhile, on Olympus, Zeus governs confidently. The heavens obey him. The seasons move in balance. The seas remain under Poseidon's watch. The underworld functions beneath Hades' careful rule. The kingdom appears stable. Yet Zeus notices something about Prometheus. The Titan asks unusual questions. Not rebellious questions. Thoughtful questions. Questions about humanity. Questions about fairness. Questions about responsibility. One evening, as the sun sets behind distant mountains, Zeus and Prometheus share wine upon a terrace overlooking the world. The sky burns gold and crimson. The scent of olive trees drifts through the cooling air. For a while, they simply watch the horizon. Then Prometheus speaks. What place do mortals hold in the new order? The question feels simple. It is not. Zeus considers carefully. Mortals matter. Of course they matter. They honor the gods. They build temples. They maintain rituals. They participate in the cosmic balance. Yet his answer remains incomplete. Prometheus notices. The conversation ends politely, but the question lingers. Ancient myths often begin with such moments. Not dramatic confrontations, not thunderbolts. Questions. Questions powerful enough to change the future. Days later, another mystery appears. A dream comes to Prometheus. In the dream, he stands beside a vast fire burning in darkness. The flames illuminate countless human faces, old faces, young faces, faces not yet born. The fire does not consume them. It strengthens them. Behind the flames stands an enormous shadow. Its shape remains unclear. God, monster, destiny, perhaps all three. The shadow speaks a single sentence. What is withheld shapes the world as much as what is given. Prometheus awakens before dawn. The dream troubles him, not because it feels threatening, because it feels meaningful. Ancient Greeks often treated dreams with respect, especially recurring dreams, especially symbolic ones. Whether sent by divine powers or emerging from deeper truths, such visions deserved attention. Prometheus cannot forget the fire. The image follows him everywhere. At the same time, another debate unfolds among the gods. Humans have begun offering sacrifices. Animals, wine, grain. The rituals establish relationships between mortal and divine worlds. Yet questions emerge. How much should mortals keep for themselves? How much belongs to the god? The issue seems practical. It soon becomes symbolic. One gathering takes place near a sacred altar. The smell of burning offerings rises into the air. Smoke drifts upward toward the heavens. Priests chant prayers. The atmosphere feels solemn. Prometheus attends quietly. He watches the ceremony. He watches the portions divided. He watches the expectations surrounding every gesture. Historians continue to debate how much of this myth reflects real ancient ritual concerns. Yet the underlying theme remains clear. Relationships require negotiation. Even relationships between gods and humans. Prometheus begins thinking more deeply than ever. His sympathy for humanity grows. So does his concern. Mortals live short lives. They face endless hardships. And despite all their effort, they remain weak against darkness and cold. A memory returns to him. The dream. The fire. The countless faces illuminated by light. The idea begins taking shape. Not fully. Not yet. Only as possibility. But possibility often marks the beginning of destiny. One night he walks alone through the gardens of Olympus. Moonlight silver coats the marble pathways. The sacred flame glows warmly in the distance. An owl calls somewhere beyond the columns. The atmosphere feels peaceful, almost too peaceful. Prometheus pauses beside a reflecting pool. The water mirrors the stars above. For a moment, another omen appears. A shooting star crosses the sky. Bright, silent, gone in an instant. He watches its path carefully. Ancient Greeks often associated falling stars with change, with messages, with transitions. The interpretation remains uncertain. Yet once again, the feeling persists. Something approaches. Something important. Far below, humanity sleeps beside small fires. Tiny points of light scattered across the darkness of the world. Prometheus looks toward them. The image stays in his mind. Small fires, small lives, small hopes. The gods possess power beyond imagination. Humans possess almost nothing. The imbalance troubles him more each day. Soon a decision will be required. A choice that will alter the relationship between Olympus and mankind forever. A choice involving fire itself, the same fire that burned in his dream. the same fire that glows now within the sacred halls of the gods. For the moment, however, the night remains calm. The stars shine. The wind moves softly through the gardens, and Prometheus continues watching the new order, wondering whether it truly serves everyone beneath the heavens. The nights are darker for mortals than they are for gods. From the heights of Olympus, darkness appears gentle. Clouds drift beneath moonlight. Stars scatter across the heavens like silver dust. The sacred halls glow warmly. Immortal voices echo through illuminated chambers. But far below, in the valleys and forests of the world, night feels different. Night feels cold, uncertain, vast. You walk among the early settlements of humankind. Small fires burn outside simple homes. Their light reaches only a few steps into the darkness. Beyond that circle of warmth waits the unknown. Wild animals move through distant shadows. Winter winds sweep across hillsides. Storms arrive without warning. The struggle of mortal life remains constant. Prometheus sees all of it. More importantly, he allows himself to feel it. Many gods observe humanity. Few truly understand it. The Titan's sympathy grows stronger with every passing season. He watches children shiver through cold evenings. He watches farmers lose harvests. He watches entire communities battle darkness with fragile tools and limited knowledge. Again and again the dream returns. The fire, the faces, the mysterious voice. What is withheld shapes the world as much as what is given. The message begins revealing its meaning. According to ancient tradition, there was a time when divine fire remained largely separate from humanity. Fire represented more than warmth, more than light. It represented knowledge, craftsmanship, transformation, the ability to change the world. To possess fire was to possess possibility. Ancient Greeks understood this deeply. A hearth was not merely practical. It was sacred. A forge was not merely useful. It was almost magical. Fire turned raw material into something new. Prometheus begins asking himself a dangerous question. Why should such power belong only to the gods? The question grows impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, another event unfolds on Olympus. A great feast has been prepared. The halls fill with music and conversation. Golden light dances across polished marble. The scent of roasted meat, honey, olive oil, and wine fills the air. The atmosphere feels joyful. Yet beneath the celebration lies tension. A dispute regarding sacrifice has reached its conclusion. Prometheus has already challenged assumptions about how offerings should be divided between gods and mortals. Through cleverness, he arranged a famous deception. One portion appeared rich but concealed little value. The other appeared humble but contained the finest meat. Zeus recognized the trick. Ancient versions of the story differ in their details. Some emphasize wit, others emphasize conflict. Yet the outcome remains consistent. Zeus becomes angered, not merely because of deception, because boundaries have been questioned. The king of the gods responds by withholding fire from humanity. The decision feels reasonable from one perspective. Authority requires limits. Order requires rules. Yet Prometheus sees another side. Mortals will suffer. The image of those distant settlements returns to him. The cold nights, the frightened children, the endless struggle against darkness. The decision begins forming before he consciously accepts it. One evening, Prometheus climbs alone toward the highest terraces of Olympus. The moon hangs bright above the world. Clouds drift slowly beneath the mountain. The air feels cool and still. An unusual silence surrounds the summit, almost as though the cosmos itself is waiting. As he walks, another Omen appears. The sacred flame of Hestia burns unusually bright. Its golden light seems almost alive. The fire crackles softly. Then a single spark rises. Higher, higher, higher still. The spark drifts toward the stars before disappearing. Prometheus stops. The sight feels meaningful, yet the meaning remains uncertain. Ancient audiences often appreciated such ambiguity. Not every sign arrives with instructions. Sometimes omens invite courage rather than certainty. Prometheus continues upward. The halls are quiet at this hour. Most gods rest. Others wander distant regions of their domains. Only the sacred fire remains awake. Its glow fills the chamber, warm, steady, eternal. The Titan stands before it. For a long moment he does nothing. He simply watches. The flames reflect in his eyes. The dream returns once more. The countless human faces illuminated by firelight. The shadow beyond them. The voice. What is withheld shapes the world as much as what is given. At last, he reaches for the flame. Ancient traditions describe the act in several ways. Some say he concealed the fire within a hollow fennel stalk. Others preserve different details. The exact method matters less than the symbolism. Fire is taken from Olympus, not stolen for personal gain, given for others. That distinction defines the entire myth. Prometheus descends from the mountain, carrying a secret light. The journey feels almost sacred. The night wind moves through the darkness. Stars watch from above. The world sleeps. And within that sleeping world travels a gift that will change history. You follow him across valleys and hills, past rivers reflecting moonlight, past forests whispering beneath the breeze. At last he reaches humanity. The first flames appear cautiously, a small fire, then another, then many. Soon warmth spreads through settlements that once feared the night. Children gather around glowing hearths. Craftsmen experiment with new possibilities. Food cooks more safely. Tools improve. Communities grow stronger. The change feels miraculous. Ancient Greeks often viewed this moment as the beginning of civilization itself, not because fire literally appeared for the first time, but because fire symbolized every skill that elevates humanity. Knowledge, technology, article, progress. The gift transforms the world. Yet gifts always carry consequences. Far above Zeus notices. The king of heaven watches smoke rise from countless new fires. Tiny lights appear across the landscape. Too many lights. Too quickly. Understanding arrives immediately. Prometheus. No investigation is necessary. No messenger is required. The truth stands plainly before him. Anger follows. Not wild anger. Not thoughtless rage. Something more complicated. Disappointment. Betrayal. Concern. The boundaries between gods and mortals exist for reasons. Or so Zeus believes. Prometheus has crossed those boundaries deliberately. The tension between them deepens. Ancient audiences rarely saw this conflict as simple. Both figures possess understandable motives. Prometheus acts from compassion. Zeus acts from responsibility. The tragedy emerges because both believe they are protecting the future. Thunder gathers above Olympus. Clouds roll across the heavens. The king of the gods stands upon a terrace overlooking the world. Far below, countless mortal fires flicker through the darkness. Tiny stars scattered across the earth. The sight is beautiful. The sight is dangerous. Perhaps both. An eagle lands nearby. The familiar Omen returns once more. The bird watches silently. Its presence feels almost questioning. What comes next? Even Zeus cannot answer immediately. Punishment must follow. The order of the cosmos demands response. Yet the story has moved beyond simple obedience and rebellion. Something larger is unfolding. Humanity has changed. The gods have changed. The relationship between heaven and earth has changed. And once such transformations begin, they rarely stop. The first mortal fires continue burning through the night. Their glow reaches farther than anyone realizes. Farther than valleys. Farther than mountains. Farther even than Olympus itself. For the gift of fire has awakened possibility. And possibility once lit becomes difficult to extinguish. The mortal fires continue to burn. Night after night, their glow spreads across the world. From the heights of Olympus, the earth no longer appears dark and silent. Points of light shine beside rivers, along coastlines, within valleys protected by mountains. Humanity has changed. The gift of Prometheus has begun its work. You can almost feel the transformation moving through the world. Craftsmen shape stronger tools. Families gather around warm hearths. Stories are shared beneath firelight. The long darkness retreats. Yet every gift alters balance. And balance, the Greeks believed, always seeks restoration. High above the world, Zeus watches the growing lights. The king of heaven remains troubled. His anger has cooled. Something more thoughtful has replaced it. He understands Prometheus's compassion. He even admires it in some distant way. But admiration does not erase consequences. The boundaries between divine and mortal life have been crossed. A response must come, not only because Zeus is king, because order itself demands one. Ancient Greek myths often return to this idea. Actions create reactions. Choices create consequences. The cosmos remembers. One evening, clouds gather around Olympus. Not storm clouds. Soft silver clouds illuminated by moonlight. The halls seem suspended between worlds. The atmosphere feels strange, almost dreamlike. Within the great chamber, Zeus summons several divine powers. The air smells faintly of cedar and sacred oil. Torches burn quietly along the walls. The sacred flame of Hestia glows at the center. There a decision begins to take shape. Not a weapon, not a war. Something subtler, something more mysterious. Ancient storytellers preserved many versions of what follows. Details differ, names shift slightly, yet the heart of the myth remains remarkably consistent. A woman will be created, not an ordinary woman, a being shaped by many gifts, a being carrying beauty, charm, curiosity, and hidden destiny. Her name will be Pandora. The name itself invites reflection, often translated as all-gifted, a person who receives gifts from many divine sources. Yet gifts are rarely simple in Greek mythology. Every blessing carries possibility. Every possibility carries risk. The preparations begin. The gods contribute their talents. Athena, according to later traditions, provides wisdom and skill. Aphrodite offers beauty and grace. Hermes contributes cleverness and persuasion. Other gods add qualities of their own. The result is remarkable. Pandora emerges radiant, alive, curious, wondering. Ancient audiences sometimes misunderstood the story as merely punitive. Yet the myth feels more complex when viewed closely. Pandora is not evil. She is not a monster. She is profoundly human. That distinction matters. You watch as she takes her first steps through the halls of Olympus. Sunlight reflects from polished marble. Flowers bloom along nearby terraces. The air carries the scent of honey and mountain herbs. Everything feels bright, hopeful, and yet an unanswered question lingers. Why has she been created? The mystery remains hidden. Pandora herself does not know. Perhaps that ignorance makes the story sadder. Perhaps it makes it more meaningful. Ancient myths often place individuals inside destinies they do not fully understand, just as mortals move through life without seeing every consequence ahead. One morning, Pandora receives a gift, a jar. Later traditions often transformed it into a box, but surviving evidence suggests a jar is closer to the original image. It appears ordinary at first glance, beautifully crafted, carefully sealed, decorated with subtle patterns, nothing threatening, nothing frightening. Yet everyone notices one instruction: do not open it. The warning echoes through the myth. Simple, clear, unavoidable, and immediately curiosity awakens. Ancient Greeks understood curiosity intimately. It drives discovery, it drives learning, it drives progress. It also creates danger. The same impulse that leads people toward wisdom may lead them toward trouble. Pandora studies the jar, day after day. The seal remains intact. The mystery grows. Questions multiply. What lies inside? Why must it remain closed? Who decided? The more she wonders, the more powerful the uncertainty becomes. Meanwhile, another thread of the story unfolds. Prometheus senses danger. Some traditions claim he warned his brother Epimetheus. The name Epimetheus means afterthought. A revealing contrast. Prometheus thinks ahead. Epimetheus thinks afterward. The symbolism is unmistakable. Wisdom often sees consequences early. Others recognize them too late. Prometheus advises caution. Do not accept gifts from Olympus lightly. The warning goes unheeded, like many warnings throughout mythology. Like the warning given to Cronus. Like the warning Hera gave Zeus. Like so many signs scattered throughout the story. People hear what they are prepared to hear. One evening beneath a sky crowded with stars, Pandora sits alone beside the jar. The night air feels cool. Crickets sing softly in the darkness. Moonlight washes the landscape in silver. Everything seems peaceful. The jar rests nearby, silent, patient, waiting. Another omen appears. A shooting star crosses the heavens, bright and brief. Pandora watches it fade. Ancient listeners would immediately recognize the symbolism. A moment of choice approaches. The future balances upon a small action. Still she hesitates. The Greeks often found great drama in hesitation. Not action, not outcome. The moment before. The uncertainty before certainty. At last curiosity wins. Her fingers touch the seal. The jar opens. What follows has been interpreted many ways through the centuries. Some traditions describe sorrows escaping. Disease, hardship, pain, labor, loss. Others emphasize broader human suffering, the inevitable difficulties woven into mortal existence. The exact contents matter less than the meaning. Life contains struggle. No gift can remove that truth. No kingdom can eliminate it, not even Olympus. The sorrows scatter across the world, invisible, unstoppable. Pandora gasps. The realization arrives too late. The warning suddenly makes sense. The consequence becomes real. Yet the story does not end there. Inside the jar, one thing remains: hope. The Greek concept is complicated. Scholars continue debating exactly how ancient audiences understood it. Was hope preserved as comfort, as resilience, as another challenge? The question remains open. And perhaps that uncertainty is intentional. What matters is this: even after hardship enters the world, something remains behind. Something that encourages people to continue, to rebuild, to endure. Pandora closes the jar. Silence returns. The stars remain overhead. The night continues. The world is changed again. Just as it changed when Prometheus brought fire. Just as it changed when Zeus defeated Cronus. Every age leaves its mark. Every choice echoes. Far above Zeus watches the mortal world. He sees suffering spreading, but he also sees something else. Families gathering around hearths. Children laughing despite hardship. Farmers planting seeds despite uncertainty. Humans continuing forward. The lesson feels deeper than punishment. Life contains pain. Life also contains perseverance. Ancient Greeks understood both. And somewhere beyond the mountains, beyond the seas, beyond even Olympus, another challenge begins to stir. A challenge not born from humanity. Not born from Prometheus, but from Gaia herself. The earth remembers. The earth watches. And soon, she will send one final warning to the ruler of heaven. A warning named Typhon. For a time, the world remains calm. The mortal fires burn steadily. The seasons move in their appointed rhythm. The seas answer Poseidon. The dead travel quietly into the realm of Hades. Olympus shines above the clouds like a second sky. From a distance, the reign of Zeus appears secure. The war has ended. The cosmos has been divided. The great questions seem answered. Yet ancient Greek myths rarely allow certainty to last. Even after victory, even after order, even after peace, something older continues to stir beneath the world. You feel the first signs in the earth itself. The ground trembles without warning, not violently, just enough to be noticed. Springs change their flow. Birds abandon nesting grounds. Wild animals become restless. Across distant mountains, strange fires glow at night. Many dismiss these signs. Others remember older stories, the oldest stories, stories about Gaia, the earth, the first mother, the being who witnessed every age of the cosmos. Ancient traditions preserve several versions of what happens next. Some differ in detail. Some disagree entirely. Yet most share a common theme. The struggle for order is never truly finished. Every kingdom creates opposition. Every ruler eventually faces a test. And Zeus is about to face his greatest one. Far beneath the mountains, in places where sunlight has never reached, Gaia broods upon the fate of her children. The Titans have fallen. Many remain imprisoned. The ancient order lies broken. Whether her anger arises from grief, justice, or wounded pride depends upon which tradition you follow. Perhaps all three are true. Greek myths rarely limit themselves to one motive. From that anger comes a final challenge, a final warning, a final storm against Olympus. His name is Typhon. Even before he appears, uncertainty surrounds him. Ancient poets describe him differently. Some imagine him towering beyond mountains. Others describe countless serpent heads rising from his shoulders. Still others emphasize his connection to volcanic fire and destructive winds. Historians continue debating what older fears or natural forces Typhon may symbolize. Volcanoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, chaos itself. No interpretation fully captures him. That is part of the point. Typhon represents what resists understanding, what refuses control, what stands outside order. One evening, Zeus climbs a ridge overlooking the world. The sunset fades slowly. Clouds glow crimson and gold. The air smells of rain. For a while, everything feels peaceful. Then the birds vanish, all at once. The silence arrives so suddenly that it feels unnatural. No wings, no songs, nothing. The King of Heaven notices immediately. A warning moves through him. Instinct, memory, something. Then the horizon darkens, not with ordinary weather. With presence, a shadow spreads across distant mountains. The shape seems impossible, too large, too vast, too alive. Thunder rolls across the world. Yet Zeus has not called it. The realization sends a chill through him. Another storm has entered the sky. Olympus soon learns the truth. Messengers arrive breathless. The earth shakes. Forests burn. Entire valleys disappear beneath strange tempests. Witnesses describe a monstrous figure moving across the landscape. A figure surrounded by flame smoke and destruction. Every report sounds different, yet all carry the same fear. Typhon is coming. The halls of Olympus grow tense. The gods gather. The atmosphere feels very different from the days before the Titanomachy. Then they were rebels. Now they are rulers. They have something to lose. Ancient audiences would have understood this change immediately. Responsibility transforms courage. Protecting a kingdom feels different from building one. Poseidon wants immediate action. The sea-hearted god always prefers movement. Demeter worries about the mortal world below. Fields burn. Villages suffer. Life pays the price whenever gods clash. Hades listens silently. His expression reveals little. Yet he understands, perhaps better than anyone, that every age eventually confronts darkness. Hera watches Zeus carefully. The question is no longer whether he can win a throne. The question is whether he can defend one. That night, another dream comes. This time it visits Zeus. He stands upon Olympus alone. The mountain is empty. The halls are silent. The sacred flame has gone dark. Above him circles the familiar eagle. But now the bird appears wounded. Several feathers drift downward. One lands in Zeus's hand. Then the eagle turns and flies toward the east, toward dawn, toward light. When Zeus awakens, the dream remains vivid. An omen, a warning, perhaps also guidance. The eagle has always appeared during moments of transformation. Its message seems clear enough. Do not cling only to what exists. Move toward what must be done. Morning arrives. The challenge can no longer be delayed. Typhon approaches. You follow Zeus as he leaves Olympus. Storm clouds gather around him. The Thunderbolt glows brighter than it has in years. The weapon forged by the Cyclopes seems eager, almost alive. Ancient myths often blur the boundary between object and symbol. The Thunderbolt is more than a weapon. It represents authority, order, the power to shape chaos. Now it faces its greatest test. The meeting takes place upon a vast plain bordered by mountains. The sky churns overhead. Wind tears across the landscape. Dust fills the air, and there stands Typhon. The sight overwhelms imagination. Serpentine shapes writhe around him. Fire glows within his eyes. His voice sounds like earthquakes breaking beneath the earth. Every description preserved by ancient storytellers feels inadequate. He is meant to feel beyond description, the embodiment of chaos itself. For a moment, neither moves. Storm faces storm. Power faces power. The old fears of the cosmos return. Gaia's final warning stands before the King of Heaven. Typhon speaks. The words vary in different traditions. Yet the meaning remains consistent. No kingdom lasts forever. No ruler escapes challenge. No victory remains permanent. Zeus hears the message clearly. He has heard versions of it before. From Hera, from Cronus, from dreams, from prophecy. Every throne hears footsteps behind it. The confrontation begins. Lightning tears through the sky. Fire erupts from the earth. The plain shakes beneath impossible forces. Ancient audiences imagine this battle as one of the greatest struggles in all mythology. Not merely a contest between two beings. A contest between order and chaos. Between civilization and destruction. Between endurance and collapse. The outcome remains uncertain. Even Zeus feels it. For the first time since the Titanomachy, true doubt returns. Yet doubt is not weakness. Sometimes doubt reminds rulers to remain humble, to remain vigilant, to remain human even when they are gods. The storm intensifies. The heavens darken. And the final great challenge of Zeus's reign moves toward its decisive moment. The storm consumes the horizon. Lightning tears through clouds layered upon clouds. Thunder rolls across mountains and seas alike. The air smells of rain ash and broken stone. You stand at the edge of the great struggle and watch the sky itself seem to bend beneath its violence. Typhon rises from the chaos like a living catastrophe. Fire flashes between serpentine coils. The earth trembles beneath every movement. Ancient storytellers often described him not merely as a monster, but as a force. A force that reminds the world how fragile order can be. And now that force stands against Zeus. The King of Heaven grips the Thunderbolt. Its light reflects across dark clouds. For a moment, the image recalls another time, the battlefield of the Titanomachy, the Fall of Cronus, the storm over the mountains. Yet this confrontation feels different. Then Zeus fought to win a kingdom. Now he fights to preserve one. The distinction matters. Ancient Greeks often understood that gaining power and keeping power required different virtues. Courage wins battles. Wisdom sustains peace. Typhon strikes first. A wave of fire surges across the plain. The ground blackens. Trees vanish beneath heat and smoke. The heavens glow red. Zeus answers with lightning. The thunderbolt leaps from his hand. A brilliant line of white fire crosses the darkness. The impact shakes the world. Mountains echo. The sea responds with crashing waves along distant shores. For a few moments, neither force yields. Chaos meets order. Fire meets storm. The outcome remains uncertain. The gods watch from Olympus. Poseidon stands near the edge of a marble terrace. The sea god rarely remains still. Now he cannot move. Demeter watches with quiet concern. Every wound inflicted upon the earth troubles her. Hestia tends the sacred flame. The fire burns steadily despite the violence unfolding across the world. The image feels symbolic. Even during the greatest storms, something worth preserving remains. Hades watches from his shadowed realm. The dead continue arriving. They always do. The rhythms of existence never fully stop. Even while gods battle, even while kingdoms rise and fall, Hera remains silent. Her gaze never leaves the distant storm. Perhaps she remembers her dream, the empty throne, the crown of clouds, the countless faces waiting below. The responsibility of power has always mattered more to her than the spectacle of it. The battle continues. Hours pass, or perhaps days. Mythic time often refuses ordinary measurement. Ancient poets focused less on duration than meaning. What matters is that Zeus refuses to retreat. Again and again he rises against Typhon. Again and again the storm answers. The thunderbolt flashes. The heavens roar. The world endures. At one point the struggle reaches a volcanic region where rivers of molten stone glow beneath the night. Some researchers believe such imagery may preserve memories of real volcanic landscapes known to ancient peoples. Another interpretation suggests that volcanic fire naturally symbolized primal chaos. Whatever the origin, the setting feels appropriate. Earth fire and sky fire collide. The oldest powers of creation confront one another. An omen appears during the height of the conflict. The eagle returns, not wounded now, whole, strong. It circles high above the battlefield, unaffected by smoke, unaffected by flame. Ancient audiences would have recognized the image immediately. The recurring sign has completed its journey. The eagle that watched Zeus as a child, the eagle that appeared in dreams, the eagle that returned before every great turning point. Now it circles above the final test. Its presence offers no guarantee, only reminder. Destiny may guide, action must still follow. Zeus looks upward briefly. The sight steadies him, not because he believes victory is certain, because he remembers. He remembers Crete, the cave, the bronze shields, the first questions, the first fears, the long road that led here. Memory becomes strength. The Greeks often understood identity this way. A person is not merely what they possess. A person is what they remember. Typhon unleashes one final assault. The heavens darken completely. Rain turns to steam before reaching the ground. The mountains seem ready to collapse. The plain itself disappears beneath smoke and lightning. For a moment, chaos appears overwhelming. Then Zeus acts, not with anger, not with desperation, with purpose. The thunderbolt rises. Storm clouds gather around it. The sky answers its king. A flash brighter than daylight erupts across the horizon. The sound follows. A vast, rolling thunder that seems to travel through the foundations of the world. When the light fades, the struggle is over. Typhon falls. The great challenge ends. Ancient traditions describe different conclusions. Some place Typhon beneath mountains. Some beneath volcanic lands. Some beneath distant regions, beyond the familiar world. The details vary. The meaning remains constant. Chaos is not destroyed completely. It is contained, managed, held in balance. This distinction matters. The Greeks rarely imagined perfect victory. Storms still exist. Volcanoes still erupt. Earthquakes still shake the ground. The forces represented by Typhon never disappear entirely. They remain part of existence. Order succeeds not by eliminating chaos, but by preventing chaos from ruling. The lesson feels timeless. As calm gradually returns, Zeus stands beneath a clearing sky. The first stars emerge overhead. Cool night air replaces smoke and heat. The world feels strangely quiet. The silence after great events often carries its own weight. The King of Heaven looks across the land. Villages still burn their small fires. Farmers still tend fields. Sailors still cross the sea. Families still gather beneath the stars. Life continues. That realization comforts him more than victory itself. Olympus welcomes him home. The halls shine warmly. Music returns. The sacred flame glows. The gods celebrate. Yet Zeus does not linger upon triumph. Too many warnings accompany him. Too many lessons. The curse of Cronus, the council of Hera, the dreams, the eagle, the questions that never fully disappear. He understands something now. Kingship is not a destination. It is a responsibility renewed every day. The hidden child of Crete became a warrior. The warrior became a king. The king became a guardian. And beneath the endless stars above Olympus, Zeus continues watching over a world that remains beautiful, fragile, and unfinished. One final journey remains. Not a battle, not a conquest, a reflection. For even the greatest gods eventually become stories. And stories, like stars, shine longest after the night has fallen. The years drift onward like clouds across a summer sky. Olympus remains high above the world. Its marble halls gleam beneath sunlight. Its terraces overlook seas, forests, mountains, and distant islands. The sacred flame continues to burn. The heavens continue their slow turning, and Zeus remains upon the throne. Yet this final chapter is not about battles, not about victories, not about monsters or prophecies. It is about memory. You stand once more upon the highest ridge of Olympus. The air feels cool. A gentle wind moves through the mountain grasses. Far below, the mortal world stretches toward every horizon. Cities have begun to rise. Temples stand beside rivers. Ships cross the seas. Farmers harvest fields golden beneath the sun. Generations live and die. Children become elders. Stories pass from one voice to another. Time moves differently for mortals. The gods witness centuries the way humans witness seasons. And yet even immortals are not untouched by change. Zeus often walks alone now, not because he is lonely, because reflection has become part of kingship. The hidden child of Crete still exists somewhere within him. The boy who listened to bronze shields. The young god who questioned destiny. The brother who searched for family. The leader who feared becoming another Cronus. All those versions remain. Ancient Greeks often understood identity as something layered. No stage of life fully disappears. The past surveys inside the present. One evening, Zeus visits a quiet terrace overlooking the western sea. The sunset fills the sky with gold and crimson. Clouds drift beneath the mountain like slow rivers. The scent of olive trees rises on the breeze. Everything feels peaceful. For a long time, he simply watches. No thunder answers. No prophecy interrupts. No challenge appears. Only silence. The kind of silence earned through years of struggle. A memory returns. Then another. The cave on Crete. The milk of Amalthea. The voice of Metis beside the spring. The first sight of his freed siblings. The forge of the Cyclopes. The rise of the 100-handed ones. The fall of Cronus. The warning spoken afterward. Every throne hears footsteps behind it. The words still matter, not because Zeus fears immediate overthrow, because they remind him of humility. Power remains temporary, even when the ruler is immortal. Kingdoms endure only when they are cared for. The Greeks understood this lesson deeply. Their cities rose and fell. Their leaders succeeded and failed. Nothing remained unchanged forever, not even glory. Far below, a storm forms above the sea. Lightning flashes within distant clouds. The sight feels familiar. Countless mortals will look upon that storm tonight. Some will feel fear. Others will feel wonder. Many will think of Zeus. That realization interests him. The king has become a symbol, not merely a being, a story, a way of understanding the world. Ancient religion often worked this way. The gods lived within nature, within ritual, within memory, within imagination. Zeus exists in thunder because people find meaning there. The relationship flows both ways. Another mystery drifts through his thoughts. Prometheus, Pandora, humanity, the countless lives unfolding beneath the heavens. Mortals remain fragile. They suffer. They fail. They lose what they love. Yet they continue, again and again. The resilience of humanity fascinates the gods, perhaps because it differs from immortality. A mortal life gains intensity through limitation. The knowledge that time is precious gives value to each moment. Ancient Greek poets returned often to this idea. The brief flower may be more beautiful because it blooms for only a season. The stars emerge overhead, one by one. The same stars that watched Gaia rise from chaos. The same stars that witnessed the fall of Uranus. The same stars that looked down upon Rhea and the hidden cave on Crete. The same stars that watched the Titanomachy. The stars remember everything, or at least they seem to. That feeling mattered to ancient audiences. The heavens offered continuity in a changing world. Generations passed. The stars remained. As night deepens, Zeus notices a familiar shape moving across the sky. The eagle. Older myths never fully explain the bird. Messenger, symbol, companion, omen, perhaps all at once. It circles above Olympus one final time, then glides westward toward the fading light. The image feels complete, not an ending, a continuation. The eagle disappears beyond the horizon. Zeus watches until it is gone. Then he smiles, a small smile, quiet, peaceful. The world below settles into evening. Fires glow in villages. Waves strike harbor walls. Wind moves through cypress trees. Priests tend sacred flames. Families share meals. Children listen to stories. Among those stories are tales of Zeus, the child hidden from destiny, the liberator of his siblings, the conqueror of the Titans, the king of Olympus, the guardian of order. Each generation retells the myth differently. Some emphasize courage, some wisdom, some justice, some power. That too is part of the story. Myths survive because they continue changing. They remain alive inside the people who remember them. And perhaps that is the final lesson. Not that Zeus became king, not that Cronus fell, not that monsters were defeated. The deeper lesson is that every age inherits something from the one before it. Warnings, dreams, mistakes, hopes. The future grows from memory. Just as Zeus grew from the choices of Gaia, Rhea, Metis, and countless others. The chain continues, always. Now the night grows quieter. The wind softens. The stars shine steadily above the sleeping world. Far below, the last sounds of evening begin to fade. The sea moves gently against distant shores. The sacred flame burns warmly upon Olympus, and the King of Heaven sits beneath the stars, no longer preparing for war, no longer chasing destiny, but simply watching. Watching clouds drift across the moon. Watching constellations wheel slowly through the darkness. Watching the world continue its endless journey. The thunder has faded into memory. The battles have become stories. The prophecies have become history. Only the night remains. Deep, calm, ancient. And as the stars continue their silent passage overhead, the world rests beneath the same sky that watched the rise of Zeus, the fall of Titans, and the birth of a cosmos ordered from chaos. The wind grows softer still. The sea becomes a distant whisper. The sacred fire glows like a final ember in the darkness. And beneath that endless canopy of stars, memory gently yields to silence.